This is John Jackson Miller, and you're listening to the Star Wars Canon Podcast. May the Force be with you.
Well, it's been a long road getting back on the mic, but we're finally back. Kathleen Kennedy is out. Maul Shadowlord is going strong. We've got a couple of High Republic book reviews for you, and we're taking your mailbag questions. The date is April 25th, 2026, and you're listening to episode 85 of the Star Wars Canon Podcast.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Star Wars Canon Podcast, episode number 85. I'm so glad you decided to join me to talk about our favorite thing in the world, yet again, Star Wars. My name is Brian Miller. I am the host of the Star Wars Canon Podcast, which has been on hiatus since, summer of last year, I think? I think that's what it's been. Life's been crazy. I've got 3 kids, 2 strays that I picked up on the street, and then the son with me and my wife. And so it's been absolutely hectic. So we are back. I've been looking forward to getting on the mic and talking some Star Wars again. I've been chomping at the bit. I started thinking a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, is it time? Is it time? Is everything slowing down enough where I could be able to get on the mic again once a week and put together a show and put it out? And the answer was yes. Thank God the answer was yes. So here we are, episode 85. And to help me navigate this never-ending universe of Star Wars and Star Wars canon, I've got a couple of buddies with me tonight, and you know both of them. First off, I want to welcome to the stage my co-pilot, my co-host, my Wookiee co-pilot, I'll say, from across the pond in Cairo, Egypt, joining us, 8 time zones away, I think is right? 8 time zones away right now.
We just changed the clocks. We moved them forward about an hour ago.
So 9 time zones away is Usef Waly, man. Usef, how are you today, man?
How's it going? I'm very, very excited. Very happy to be back here on the podcast. It has been a minute, huh, Nav? It has been quite a minute. How have you been? It's been tornado season over there where you are.
Yeah.
Almost every other week, hasn't it? Every other month.
It's spring.
God bless you.
Springtime in Kansas, man. That's just the way it goes. Yeah. So real quick, let me introduce JG and then we'll talk about the storms real quick. JG Carse is joining us also. You guys know him from past episodes and from the Marvel cast. JG, how you doing tonight, man?
You know, I don't have kids, but I am equally tired somehow. So, but you know, there's so much Star Wars to keep us going, and I'm excited to talk it with y'all.
Yeah, I'm so excited to get going. Before we do, I want to say real quick, because Usef is in Cairo, Egypt, across the pond. I'm in central Kansas, and JG is in Pennsylvania. We are all at different points of the world, really, right now. I've got some wild weather moving through. I've got my radar pulled up. I'm watching it. There's actually a tornado on the ground right now, 3 miles south of me. So I was like, let's just do it. Let's just do this. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? I'm in my basement. So if anything happens, we're good. So we're just going to roll with it. But because everybody is kind of spread out, we do have technical difficulties once in a while with connection issues. And nothing against Usef, but mainly with Usef being across the pond in Egypt. So if that happens, I don't like to leave a man behind on an episode, but me and JG may power through if we can't get him back. We'll try. We will absolutely try to get him back. But if we can't, me and JG will power through. And if we lose JG, me and Usef will power through. And if I'm the only one left, then I guess you guys just have to stare at me for the rest of the episode.
Mutiny.
And just so we'll see how it goes. So yeah, guys, episode 85. Like I said, it's been a while since we've done an episode. It's not like there's nothing to talk about, though. I mean, can you guys think of anything in Star Wars to talk about right now?
A lot.
We've got so much to talk about.
Quite a bit.
Got some awesome plans in the pipeline for Celebration next year. I'm really excited about that. Tickets, we'll go ahead and start with that real quick. Tickets for Star Wars Celebration go on sale May 5th. Or no, I'm sorry, May 6th. Right? May 6th. Lucasfilm put out that Celebration number 50th anniversary of Star Wars is going to be in LA this year. Next year, April 1st through the 4th. Tickets are going on sale on the 6th. And I don't know about you guys, I've never been to a celebration before, which is wild. It's like my pilgrimage. It's like my Mecca. It's like the one thing I need to do in my life. And I could die on the plane could crash on the way home and I'm going to die happy, So, so I talked to Kirsty and we have the money set aside and I'm like, here we go. We're doing it. So we're actually going to be attempting to get the 4-day passes this year for celebration. And so I'm stoked. I'm so excited. Usef, I know you've got a lot of red tape to jump through to get over here to do celebration. JG, you going to try to get some tickets?
Oh, absolutely. This is the one not to miss.
Yeah, absolutely. Usef, we've got a mutual friend, all three of us do, Richard J. in the UK. Has anybody heard from him whether he's going to try to get tickets for LA or not?
So I've been talking with him a lot about this, especially that I might be in the UK later this year in September or something. I visit the UK quite often. It's not that far from me. It's barely like a 4.5-5 hour flight. I've only ever been to the US once, by the way, and I've been dying to go back for like a special occasion. I'm a huge football fan, soccer fan, and I wanted to come for the World Cup, but I was like, well, there's stadiums are just so far apart. And I'd rather save up the money for celebration. So I'm doing that. So I told Jay the same thing. Listen, I've been saving up since like October. I've been following. I've been doing everything that I could do to make sure that I get that. And once I get the ticket, that'll help me with the red tape, actually. Like you're coming in for an event, you're doing this, and I'll immediately try to get the U.S. Embassy appointment, all that stuff. Huge long lines. Jay, you don't have to do any of that. Your passport gets you straight through the border. He's like, well, I don't know, like this or that. It's kind of not he's a family man, of course, so he has his own stuff going on. Might not be able to take time off work, but I think we got to badger him and try to get him to at least come by for a weekend or something.
Might have to fly to Wales and kidnap him and try to smuggle somebody across the border into the U.S. That couldn't possibly go wrong.
Speaking of storms, the last time when I actually finally made it to, I took the train to Cardiff from London up to Cardiff. And I went up and there was a hurricane over there. And it was horrible. Like I couldn't even get to see anything. No castles, no nothing. So Jay and I just basically met his coworkers and had a nice, fun evening. And I slept on his couch because the trains wouldn't take me back on the same day.
Oh yeah,
that was crazy. It was a great night. It was extremely fun. Like it was, and we got to watch. I can't remember what it was, but we decided what was coming out at the time. I can't remember. Anyway, we watched a lot of Star Wars. We spoke to a lot of fun guys. A lot of fun geezes on the street trying to find a bus home. But it was really fun.
So, in case you guys are new to the show, or in case you just didn't know in general, none of us have ever met each other in real life. We've never. So Usef and Richard J have met.
Yes.
JG and Stephen Hall have met. And then me and Nick have never met, and I've never met any of you guys, and Nick's never met any of you guys. So if we're able to all get celebration tickets, this will be the first time we all meet for the first time, and it's going to be celebration for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. Which that's why we started planning this like a year ago, trying to make this happen and everything. So the way I see it in my head, and Usef, tell me if you think this is like way out of the ballpark. If we can get Richard J on, if you guys can get tickets, you guys fly into Wichita together. Yep. Kirsty and I will come pick you up. You guys can spend the night at our house, and it'll be the end of March in Kansas. So you might get some stormy weather to get to experience it a little bit. And then we'll spend the night. We might record some stuff for the podcast. We might take some stock photos of us together so that people think we actually know we've met at that point. And then
it's real.
And that they actually are real. And then the next morning we go back up to the airport, and Kirsty's going with us. She told me she's decided to come with us.
Awesome. And
so we can all fly to LA together. And then JG and Steven, we can meet up with them when we get to LA, and we can all hang out. That's kind of the way I see it going in my head anyway.
I'm hoping that that's exactly what happens, because if both of us, I could just have my layover in the UK anyway, meet up with him, and we can fly from the UK to whether it's LA, whether it's Wichita, and then we just do that.
I'm so excited. I can't wait, man.
That'd be amazing.
This is going to be awesome. So, yeah.
Highlight of life.
Celebration 50th anniversary. And so I don't think I've told you guys this. Maybe I did. Maybe I did tell you guys in the chat. I don't remember. I found online an original Graflex flash handle. I finally found one. That, Luke Skywalker's... You told me
this. I'm not sure if it was on the chat or if it was you telling me alone. Yeah.
I found a Graflex handle, an original that is in great shape. They only wanted $800 for it. And so only $800. We were just talking about disposable income before we started talking. But Yeah, and I've got like 5 people to keep alive in this house, and I'm buying $800 flash handles. But I've got it coming, and it's actually coming from the UK of all places, which is kind of funny. We're talking about this. And I've got the kit ordered to turn it into an Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker lightsaber. And so when it gets here,
The Holy Grail.
My Holy Grail. That is my Holy Grail. And so I'm gonna put this thing together with the original prop that the original saber was made of, and all that, and then I'm gonna take it to Celebration with us. And if we are able to meet Mark Hamill, I'm gonna get him to sign it.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
that will be the crown jewel of my collection. Yeah. So I didn't know if I told you guys about that or not. That is I've always wanted a Skywalker lightsaber, always. And to have one this way instead of a replica being made, it's just the icing on the cake. So I'm sorry. I had to do this shameless plug in the middle of it of what I'm getting. So, but yeah, that's my goal. That's kind of what I see going in my head for Celebration. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I told Kirsty, I was like, I'm going to come back with more lightsabers than I go with. I'm just letting you know that I'm coming back with more than I took. So,
your tip number 1 before anything right now, y'all, is your freebie. Bring an empty suitcase.
Empty suitcase. Yeah.
They're
going to question that at the airport, and they're going to be like,
that was.
Why are you trying to
never something that I was not going to do. Like, always in the plan. Always.
Every celebration, I bring an empty suitcase because you will come back with more stuff than you came with.
Yeah, I've got
100%.
I think I've got like $5,000 or $6,000 saved back right now for when we go. Like, I'm not playing around. This is probably going to be the only time I get to go for a while. So
I'm literally gonna pack like 3 days worth of clothes, and that's it. Because otherwise, just do your laundry at any Korean dry cleaner's place.
Korean dry cleaners.
I just made any. I hear there.
I'm sure they're
there's
there
nothing
in LA.
but those. I've only ever stayed in San Francisco once, and that was the only dry cleaner's place right next to where we live. Anyway, yeah. I'm
they
sorry.
gotta be Korean.
Amazing.
You can cut that out. I'm sorry.
No.
Never mind. Anyway.
No, that's staying. That's
no,
staying.
but you know what I mean. Like, just 3 days worth of clothes, and just go get your dry cleaning, and that's it. Just wash them, clean them, whatever you got to do.
Listen,
but so that you can come back with the rest of your suitcase just packed up, and hopefully get another suitcase.
You can have one pair of clothes as long as you don't forget deodorant, because my gosh, that is the one thing that everyone and their mom forgets. But do not forget the deodorant.
Yeah, because you're spending the whole day just walking around, and it's not necessarily air conditioned everywhere.
Yeah, good Lord.
Con funk is a thing. Like, stop it.
I've heard. I've actually heard of that. Yeah.
You're adult. Wear deodorant.
I'm gonna have Kirsty carry a couple spray cans in her bag with her.
I'm with it.
So
I'm hoping actually I'm hoping to add like that extra luggage for the cost on my ticket back, not my ticket too, because I want to buy luggage from there, like Disney luggage, Star Wars luggage, stuff like that. But that's if they sell them. I'm not sure if they do. If they
I'm
don't,
sure we'll find somewhere for you to buy some luggage.
You know what I mean? Like, we could just go off on the street and buy it somewhere. It doesn't have to be another.
It's America. You can go into some back alley behind the convention center, and somebody's be like, "Hey man, come here." It's hard shell. It's hard shell. You want to buy some hard shell stuff?
Especially LA.
Yeah, definitely in LA. You'll probably open it, and they'll probably have crapped in it.
So how far is the convention center from LA? I mean, it's not in
it's
LA.
in LA.
It's proper downtown.
Yeah.
This is LA proper.
Yeah, proper. Yeah,
this is not Anaheim like 2022.
Oh, it's not Anaheim. Oh, okay.
No, I thought it was going to be Anaheim, but it's LA.
We're a half hour from Anaheim, basically.
Yeah. So that's
cool.
Like, you can still go to Disneyland like very easily and all that.
I know.
And
we're going. You think I don't know that?
Thank you for saying that. It was.
Think I don't know that?
I was like,
oh, for sure.
Wait, is Anaheim the one with the hot Ray, or is that Orlando? The girl that plays Ray. Never mind. I shouldn't have said that. My wife's probably gonna watch this and be like, "Oh, really?"
Things that we shouldn't have said. We're all gonna say things that we shouldn't.
I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, also to keep in mind too that when people go next year, it's gonna be updated for Disneyland. The fact that they're gonna have like more of a original trilogy focus. Like, there will still be the sequel, but it'll be around the Rise of the Resistance ride and such. You can still meet Rey, Kylo, but the rest of the park will have Leia, Han, Luke, etc.
Yeah,
and I do want to build my own lightsaber. Gotchi's there, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so when we book our tickets for that, we're gonna have to make sure we add that to it, because I want to see if we can all do it together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's
not cheap.
Do it. It's
yeah.
Yes, $250.
Yeah. Well, that's
But
how much.
it's
That's how much a
life-changing.
ticket to
It's
Celebration
literally
is.
life-changing.
It is.
That's how much a ticket to Celebration is. It's like $260, $270, bucks. So which is way less than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, yeah, guys, let us know below. Are you going to try to get these tickets? Are we going to be fighting you on the internet on May 6th? I'd like to know who I'm fighting online, because if I don't get these tickets, I'm going to be a very sad guy watching it on YouTube again this year.
Are you kidding?
And it's going to be so sad if all these guys get tickets, and I'm like, I guess that you just smuggle me in one of these empty suitcases you guys are bringing with you.
If you're online the day of when the tickets go on sale,
Plan
especially
to
if you're
be.
going for 4-day, you'll get them.
Plan to be.
Don't wait for the next day.
I've already told my supervisor at work and was like, hey, on May 6th between 2 and 3 p.m., don't expect to see me. Don't talk to me. Don't look for me. Don't nothing. Don't even think about me. I will show up when I am good and ready. And if I have a smile on my face, you'll know it went well. If my eyes are all red and puffy and it looks like I've been throwing up, then it probably didn't go very well.
12 days from now, ladies and gentlemen. 12 days from now. On sale. Less than 12 days. 11 days.
I'm not booking anything else, hotel or anything, until I know I have those tickets.
Yeah.
Not.
And also, listeners, just also know if you're going in with the hopes of VIP, I'm glad you're optimistic, but they do sell out in 10 seconds. So just
isn't that wild? It's like
be realistic.
$1,300 and they sell out that fast. Like, wow. Anyway, so yeah.
So wait. But on that note, JG, which tickets, which tier should I be hoping to go?
Oh, the 4-day.
4-day.
Yep.
It's just the standard 4-day.
4-day pass.
The 4-day gets you all weekend. It is good to know, to bring up, I guess, that the first day, April 1st, which is that Thursday, is going to be kind of more of a preview day like they did for Chicago, where there is not going to be any main panels. Could very well possibly be the fact that it is April 1st and they just don't want to announce anything on April 1st. Because even at a giant convention,
I didn't think of that.
Whatever.
I didn't even think of that.
Are you goosing me? Like, so that day is going to have like some fan panels, some fan content. The floor will be open. It is a perfect day
kind of a warm up.
Meet your friends and get warmed up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Heck
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
Sounds awesome.
But there's no like
wait.
special events we'd be missing out on if we don't actually get VIP. I'm not saying I have to get VIP. I'm saying like, what do you miss out on if you don't get it?
Basically, the only thing that VIP, when it comes to like content and such, VIP just guarantees 100% you're going to get into the panel. The panels for the big ones, for like the main stage, so like think like the movies. So like Starfighter's coming out a month after Celebration. There's going to be a Starfighter panel.
Yes.
There's going to be a 50th anniversary panel. Those are done by lottery since Chicago. And so you'll basically put your name in a hat. And you could have, like for me in Chicago, I got entry for every big panel. In Anaheim, I only got one. So it is the most fair way. It could be frustrating, but I do also want to assure people that as exciting and fun as it is to be in that room for those announcements, Celebration does not come down to that. Celebration is about being with all your friends, all the new friends you're going to make. It is the best high that you will ever experience going to this weekend as a Star Wars fan.
Can't wait.
Good thing.
Brian, you say you'll never go. You'll probably not go again, and I
for a
say
while.
that is
For a while.
Well, I say that's bullcrap because once you experience it,
you'll be like,
it's going to be an annual thing. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Tickets will be on sale for 2028 before 2027 even gets here. All right. So yeah, Celebration coming up April 1st through the 4th, 2027. And all of you can conveniently forget to get tickets. That's fine. I want to make sure we can all get ours. That's fine. Leave it to some of us newbies that have never been there before. All right, moving along. Let's talk about some Maul, man. So full disclosure, before we really get into this, I have only seen 2 episodes of this. And it's not because of lack of wanting to watch it. It's because me and Kirsty are having a hard time finding time to sit down together to watch it together. I cannot watch it without her. She cannot watch it without me. So we watched 2 episodes the other night. But I've told these guys that's on us. That's my fault. That's me. So if they want to talk full spoilers, they can, because we have 2 episodes left, right? Coming out on Monday. 4 more episodes. Okay.
Yep, it ends on May 4th.
That's nice. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about except for those first 2 episodes, which I thought were great. Those were awesome. I don't think Maul's ever been more menacing than when he turned to look inside that cell where that Padawan was at. It was just so menacing. I loved it. So I'm going to let you guys take the floor with this one. What do you guys think of Maul so far? And what are you kind of hoping, like, where are you kind of hoping it goes, and what kind of connections are you looking for? Just all of that. What do you think?
I know you're giving us permission, but I don't want to spoil. But also at the same time,
Okay.
this
Okay.
isn't a show kind of to spoil. Like there isn't like like in Rebels or even Bad Batch, like oh this character popped up or oh this crazy thing happened. That isn't the story that Maul is doing. This is a very quick paced story that is just gradually progression each episode. So there really isn't much that we could say that would maybe ruin too much.
Okay.
But I will say I don't know. I think it's taking everything that Lucasfilm Animation has done so far. It's taking what they mastered in the Bad Batch with the lighting, the character work of Rebels, and it's just putting that all on full force here. And even where the animation got in Clone Wars season 7, it's taking everything they've learned and putting a masterpiece of animation. And really in this renaissance where we're having shows like Invincible and so many other great animated projects Lucasfilm somehow is just miles ahead of everybody else. And we should be seeing this on the big screen, hopefully, because the stuff is masterpiece what they've been doing. Maul, I mean, the fact we're getting a season 2 already just really shows that they are committed to whatever story they're telling, and it's very exciting. And these most recent episodes have teased a lot of fun things to come.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better. Exactly. Because honestly, the whole point is we want to see content that not just not just serves sir a story and gives us more of the characters, but we want to see stuff that they know how to deliver. And this is peak content because the
Mm,
way it's directed is even more perfect than anything else that I've seen in a long time. The way it's directed, if that makes sense. The
mm,
characters. We were just talking about the characters, for example, like the whole. How do I explain it? They're introducing characters in a way where they're both familiar yet not familiar. So they're new
mhm,
characters. You don't know them, but you get the vibe that they're trying to do, and you're like, oh yeah, sure, that's the same kind of old geezer type of detective. No, it's not. You can see a sort of background feel to him that's really cool. His family, what he's trying to do, and it's in the Star Wars universe. Well, this is the kind of the same sort of Star Wars Padawan that we're kind of used to seeing. And she's kind of an
mm.
old master. We haven't actually seen this kind of thing before, so no, this is quite special. And we have our own theories about where she's gonna go and what's gonna happen. But let's talk about Maul. So everybody knows I'm a Sith guy. I love the evil characters. I love the baddies. Who doesn't when he looks like Maul? He was in there for one movie and then. So anybody who hasn't seen Clone Wars and Rebels is basically not super in love with everything that's happened with Maul because they haven't seen everything else. Other people are like, wait, Maul's alive? Wait, you guys don't know this? He was in this, and that's why they're continuing with the animation. That's why they're. This is peak Maul. He is not just surviving anymore. He is evolving. He's
Mm.
beyond Sith, obviously, because he's turning into something else. Because he's always sort of wanted revenge against Sidious, and we had that amazing battle between him and them. And that's not in Maul Shadow Lord. That was obviously before that. But this is fantastic. This is just I love it. I absolutely
Mhm.
love it. And then I'm loving the criminal side of this. So you haven't seen
Yeah.
this yet. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's more and more of this criminal interaction, and it's not. This is what I wanted to see more of, sort of. And I know we got a lot of it in Outlaws, regardless of the gripe that I've had with Outlaws, especially these past few days. But no, I mean, Outlaws did show us a lot of this, and now we're seeing it with more interaction with Maul, who was supposed to be this massive crime lord, which we've heard a little bit about it in the first 2 episodes. We're seeing it. We're seeing his
Mhm.
interaction with that, and I can't wait to see more. Like this, and yes, exactly what you said on the big screen. I never thought I could hope to see it on the big screen. Can I?
I think we're in a point right now where animation is in its golden era, where like studios like Sony Animation and
Yeah,
DreamWorks
absolutely.
has kind of picked up the torch where Disney has kind of struggled recently. And don't get me wrong, Disney has done some beautiful work recently. But in the grand scheme of things, other studios have been stepping up.
Yeah,
And I think more than ever right now, and especially if we look at the current leadership of Lucasfilm, being that one of the co-presidents is Dave Filoni.
Filoni.
I
We can
think
talk about that too.
if we are ever to get an animated film again, if they're ever gonna take a risk again, it's going to be within the next decade, and it's going to be because of the fact that this animation like, I even was saying this earlier to some of my other friends. If you would cut all of the credits and smash all of these 10 episodes together, it would make a one heck of a 2 hour and 45-minute movie because it just
Absolutely.
flows from one episode to the next, and it feels very much how The Siege of Mandalore, in my opinion, if it wasn't for the pandemic, was going to be a feature film, shown. I think that this could also be done in the same way. It could be shown as a film as well.
Not to get away from Maul, but yeah, that's something else we can talk about real quick since we're on the topic of animation and Dave Filoni and all of that. That was the other thing. That was another big news thing, was that Kathy is out. That's not really news anymore, but it's our first episode back, so that's kind of a big deal. How did you guys feel about that? I might be in the minority here. I might be. I don't know. But the day that got announced, so not to get graphic, but I was in the bathroom. I was scrolling Facebook as one does, right?
Mm-hmm,
My wife was in the living room, and I saw the story. I saw the announcement, and all she heard from the living room was, "Yes!" And I started screaming, and she's like, "Are you okay? Are you all right in there?" And I'm like, I'm up, and I'm kicking the door open. I just ran through the house just screaming, "Yes! Yes!" And when I finally calmed down enough to tell her, it was like oh my gosh, this is real. I'm not dreaming right now. So, obviously I'm excited. What did you guys think when that got announced?
I am very much in the camp where I freaking love Dave Filoni. I adore that man, and I think he is the apprentice to George Lucas. I think he understands Star Wars the closest to George Lucas. I will say there was definitely some hesitancy, just from experience and such, but being assured that he has worked on a lot of live action recently and such. But the biggest thing that worked, where I was just all those fears went away, was that when it was confirmed that it's a co-presidency where it's him and Lin-Manuel Brennan,
Yes.
and knowing that Lin-Manuel has been doing so much of this work already, I now have no doubts at all that these two are going to be an amazing team. Because I mean, if we look at Kathy's interview, they've basically been running the company for the past 2 years, as she's been kind of just letting them do it, to get used to it, basically. So I honestly think that we're in for a very exciting time. Celebration, we talked about it, is going to be a massive pitiful. There's a reason that in that email, when they say we're going to look at the past 50 years and beyond to the next 50, that's because we have new leadership now. We also have new leadership at Disney. So like, and I think a lot of that, again, because in our hiatus we didn't talk about it, but like Disney leadership like went against Lucasfilm leadership and struck down movie projects and other things. And so knowing that there is someone who is very creatively minded like Dave, and someone who's very business minded like Lin-Manuel, I think that is how you should do it, very much like DC right now. I think Lucasfilm is in a very promising place.
I completely agree.
Seriously, because I completely agree. You can't be Disney and own Marvel and have these amazing storylines that have run on for 15 plus years, and then starting another 15 plus year phase, knowing where it's going to end, and then also manage Lucasfilm and not even have a trilogy that's not even a trilogy. So now you have creative leadership along with administrative leadership sort of leading this together in one cohesive vision. Isn't this what dreams are made of? Like, isn't this exactly what you want? I mean, management, I went to business school, right? This is exactly what they tell you to do. You know, this is, you need one vision. You just need to keep doing it. You got to stick with it. And that's not that difficult to figure out. If the three of us who haven't actually worked on a movie set, who haven't actually been in a boardroom, understand that this is what it takes, and they're not doing it, come on now. So I'm very, very, very happy to have heard that news. And you guys have been talking, I mean, since before that announcement, especially JG, you were on this from the minute. You were like, come on, Kathy's got to go. Kathy's gonna go.
Yeah.
This can't stay. This is that. Everything that was being said at the time. And you were absolutely right, because project after project after project, whatever didn't work, whatever worked, where they're stuck. What did work was Dave Filoni stuff. What didn't work was anything else. You know, I mean, Mandalorian was, they had to go by Dave Filoni.
Andor was good. I'll give Andor.
Andor was very good, of
I'll
course.
give
Andor was very good, of course. And they used Dave Filoni's input when he kept talking about, this is how the Rebels came in. But they didn't use his input for Acolyte, not because they didn't want to, just because, it's a new era, so just stay out of this one. So Dave was, sure, it's fine. So I saw an interview with Dave where he was like, no, Acolyte has amazing points because of this, because fantastic. He's defending his company, he's defending his project because he's a team player, because he loves Star Wars, and because this is it. He is the heir apparent.
Yeah. I I look at Marvel. Sorry. I look at Marvel because that's obviously a very successful like example to look at for a president of a company being a creative head, you know, and Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige's the one that's always front and center talking about how these stories connect, and he's the one that's read all the comic books, and he's the one that knows all these characters, and he's the one greenlighting saying, hey, let's take a chance on the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, he's the one that's making all these calls. And look at how successful, say what you will about everything post-Endgame. That's a different conversation. But look at everything from Iron Man to Endgame, how that all came together. He wasn't directing any of the stuff. He was just overseeing the overarching narrative, which that's what I see Dave Filoni doing. Does Dave Filoni have a couple of little directing issues? Probably with live action, yeah, because he's an animation guy, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking him. I mean, nothing bad by that. But his main experience is in animation, but he's one hell of a storyteller. Yeah. He is one, just like George, and he knows Star Wars on a level that a lot of us, when he explains something, my brain always goes back to, I think it was one of the gallery episodes from Mandalorian, the Duel of Fates thing. When he explains how the Duel of Fates from episode 1 connected all the way to Return of the Jedi. And I was like, gosh, like I've been watching Star Wars my entire life, and he's connecting dots that I didn't even know had been drawn, so cool. You know? And so I think him being in charge of a creative narrative moving forward, I think that's a great idea. Let the directors do their things, but make sure everybody's on the same page as you're moving forward. Cause that's obviously been a problem in the past.
Before we leave the topic, I do want to also say, though, like, flowers to Kathy. For every loss that the internet wants to gift her, she also has equally had more wins, to be honest.
Absolutely.
For what, even moving past the story and content of the sequel trilogy and the spinoffs, minus Solo, but that's a whole thing of its own. They had to shoot that film twice. Those all were financial... They were all financial successes. She also is like the producer of our lifetime and generation, going to like Indiana Jones, E.T., et cetera, et cetera. Like, this woman is a genius. And what I think is so exciting right now is that she is able to kind of leave Star Wars, Lucasfilm being the president, in great hands. And she could do what she is so damn passionate about, which is producing movies, which she's producing Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter, probably more Star Wars films. Sorry, internet who don't like her, she's not going anywhere. No, yeah, she's also going to do other independent films. And I think that's so exciting to see what she does next, because she has done amazing work. And so for every L, I think there's 2 or 3 wins from her.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, that's very decent of me to, for you to say that, of me to hear you say that, because I would not have. I haven't heard a narrative where it was positive, because if it comes to, so I don't know as many details about this as you do, but if it comes to saying that the Star Wars projects that were financially successful, sure, it's Star Wars. It's almost always going to be financially successful. But the thing is that it shouldn't just be financially successful. It should be leading somewhere and extremely financially successful. It should be going somewhere. She should be having an overarching vision and making sure that she listens to her devs. Sure, but you're absolutely right. She is leaving because she's going to be able to find her own passion to work on as many different projects as she can, because Star Wars, as massive as Star Wars is, it's just Star Wars. Obviously, it's Lucasfilm. I know. Sorry, excuse me. Hang on. So it's Lucasfilm. As massive as Lucasfilm is, it's just Lucasfilm's franchises. And to create a brand new franchise takes a whole lot of, and there's plenty of other Disney studios.
And it's hard to stand out nowadays too with a new franchise.
For sure. And that's just not how projects are come together. The greatest projects come out of the blue. These 3 guys from all across the world come together to, like, with all these different backgrounds. Anne Hathaway just bought the rights for this specific novel a few weeks ago that we heard about that. And all this stuff. So she read the novel. She was nuts for it. And then as soon as it came out, she bought the rights from the writer. She was like, okay, good. It's now on sale. Publisher, we got the deal. Good. Sign me over the movie rights. This is the deal. Let's do it. And she's going to do it. She's going to be producing it. She's going to be doing this stuff. She's going to bring in all the right people that she sees fit. That's how it works. It's not that spontaneous. Someone who loves making movies, someone who understands storytelling and wants to tell this kind of story. She sees it. She loves it. She goes for it. Yeah. Then Kathy Kennedy should also get that sort of passion. This is how this industry works. Yeah. And and that's how it's. So a couple of episodes ago when me and Brian were on here, I can't remember if Nick was on here as well or not. We were talking about, I was saying the pros and cons of having director-led storytelling, which essentially was my personal issue with 7, 8, and 9. Episode 7, 8, and 9 is the fact that you let the director do everything. You don't have one narrative, one cohesive vision, one this. So you let the director. Okay, so there's a pro and con to that. Best way, the director and his skills show perfectly the story he's telling with the way he wants to tell the story. This is a great marriage. Fantastic. But the con, obviously, is that if it's in a grander world, then you have an issue here that it's not necessarily cohesive with the rest. Yeah, sure. I'm Usef, it doesn't take a genius to say that. But seriously, this is kind of how movie making works now. If you're going after vision, who's leading the vision? Who's leading the charge? Where are they on the level of the management for the whole project? That matters just as much as what the movie's about and where it's going.
Yeah. Well, the way. So, like I said earlier, looking at Marvel as the example, the way Kevin Feige always did that was he gave the directors creative control over how to do things, but he was like, hey, there's certain beats you need to hit. There's this, and there's this that we want to get us to the next step. As long as you've got that in there somehow and it pays, as long as it respects what's already come before it, then yeah, by all means, you can do what dance off, bro. You you didn't have to put that in there, but he put it in Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn did. And so that had nothing to do with the overarching story. You know what I mean? Like the director, Guardians of the Galaxy is obviously a James Gunn film. Obviously, when you look at it, you can tell that's James Gunn, balls to bone. And so I think, and even say what you will about the new DCU, but each one of those films has got a different flavor. Peacemaker's got its own flavor. Superman had its own flavor. Supergirl looks like it's going to have a different flavor. Clayface looks freaking amazing.
Scary as heck.
Oh my God. I saw the trailer for Clayface. I was like, oh my God.
So good.
So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see like these different genre films again, like in this overarching franchise. And I think with Dave Filoni, he's going to be, this is the story, and he's the kind of person too. If he does it for voice actors, he's obviously going to do it for directors and writers. He's going to sit down and break everything down and say, this is why it makes sense. Not just that it makes sense, but how it makes sense. This is how this is connected to this and this and this. So as long as you stay to that, you can kind of have some creative freedom, So I'm all on board with Dave Filoni doing this.
Heck yeah.
I'm all on board.
And I think ultimately the final thing about Kathy, I think her biggest legacy when it comes to specifically Lucasfilm and Star Wars is that she was able to carry the torch from George and prove that Star Wars can not only exist, but also thrive
and evolve
beyond George and evolve.
Yeah. He did have a very tough job. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it went to someone like Kathy, someone with the producer credit that had it. And now she was able to do what she was able to do, have the successes that she had, and now can carry it on. And I think Star Wars is going to just go way beyond all of us at this point because of her.
I've got my gripes.
You're absolutely right.
I've got my gripes with some of the things Kathy's done. Everybody does.
Oh, yeah.
But that's Dave Filoni's going to have gripes from me about things that he does.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not like everybody is perfect, But like I mean, she's done things that I was like, really? Did that have to be? That didn't make any sense. But when you look at things like Andor, that she obviously was like, yeah, let's do this. This looks awesome. And it's some of the greatest television episodes I've ever seen. And it was Star Wars also, and it felt like Star Wars again, she was even, bringing Rebels to the screen and she had like you said, she had the big job of actually bringing back a franchise that was basically dead. I mean, there was nothing new except some fan fiction novels coming out once in a while.
Clone Wars got canceled at that point and was dropped and let go. So
and she brought it back from the dead. She hit it with CPR and brought Star Wars back. Whether you like where it went or not, I mean, I've got issues with the sequel films. I mean, who doesn't? Some people think they're all perfect, I guess. But I mean, not everything's going to be pleasing to everybody, So I'm with you. I can give Kathy Kennedy the credit she deserves for what she did do that I really enjoyed. Even the things I didn't enjoy that other people did. I give her credit for that too. And dude, she was president of Lucasfilm when, in my opinion, and yes, I'm going to say this is probably not a popular opinion. I'm probably about to make some people mad. My favorite live action Star Wars television show she was in charge of, and it was Skeleton Crew. I was so enthralled and delighted with Skeleton Crew, and I was like, and I'm not gonna lie.
That's the show Jay and I. That's the show Richard Jay and I were watching in Wales.
Yeah, we were coming off of Acolyte, and I was like, oh God, like, why? And then I saw Skeleton Crew and I was like, why? And maybe that's why it was so good, because we were coming off of Acolyte and I saw it, but I was like, and part of me was like, I don't want to like this because I'm so mad at Kathy right now for the Acolyte. And I was like, I can't help it. This show has got me grinning like an idiot.
Skeleton Crew was so fun.
Kirsty, because me and Kirsty watched it together, and I'm which episode was it? I think it was the episode where was her name Liz, the little owl creature, popped up.
Yeah.
I think it's Lynn.
Like yeah. When she popped up, I was grinning like because my favorite animal is owls. I love owls so much. I love owls. And so when I saw her pop up, and then it just felt like Star Wars. It felt like it felt like Goonies. It felt like I was watching a new Goonies movie, but it was in Star Wars. And as a kid, I always dreamed of some starship landing someday and saying, "You're the chosen one." Oh yeah, I love Hedwig. I always dreamed about that ship landing and taking me off somewhere, and I'd be special, and I get a lightsaber and everything like that. It happened to these kids. It actually happened to these kids. They were looking at High Republic novels and reading books on a Kindle that were High Republic stories, and that's what they knew. And they knew lightsabers, and they knew Jedi, and they knew starships, but they just thought they were the only planet, only life in the universe. And then to get blasted off into the Star Wars galaxy and then like, it's real? This is all real? That was me.
So good.
It was so great. And it was so well done. The casting was spot on. I will die for Neil. I will put myself in front of a bullet for that boy. I'm not even playing. And so I was like, I have to give Kathy credit where credit's due. Like she had some good ones in her. She's got some feathers in her cap that she needs to be proud of. And in my opinion, that's one of them.
Yeah. Interestingly, you bring up Acolyte, which I thought is actually interesting in like current modern news. What's very interesting is that recently, like today, I think it came out with a report that out of nowhere, the Acolyte is number 9 top streaming on Disney Plus, which
weird
makes sense when you actually think about it, because they're probably doing the whole, like when Maul ends, they're probably saying, hey, you might like this. And so they're really targeting that, which actually like that's wise and smart, because if you're going to look for a story to go from Maul, like Acolyte's definitely the one to do. But really people have to realize that, yes, not only is it suggested marketing, people are then actually clicking on it and then watching
more than one episode.
Watching more than one episode, but also watching most of the episode too.
Yeah.
So like not only is it working, but it's also like resurging. Do I think that means that we're going to finally get Acolyte 2? No, because they don't know how to budget that show, and that's unfortunately what did it in. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. I hope we get that story, but at least in recent current news, to tie it all back, I thought it was interesting that this little show that, you know, there's a lot of criticism thrown its way, rightfully so in some ways, not rightfully so in some ways. It is interesting that it's still kind of, it's sticking around. I think more than people realize.
It's not dying. I think Nick Albers said it the best way on this show when we had him on, when we were talking about the Acolyte a lot. He said it had all the right ingredients. It had every one of the right ingredients to make a great show. It just wasn't baked long enough. Like they didn't mix it long enough or something. I was like, I can buy that. I can kind of see where he's coming from, because it did have all the elements of a great Star Wars series. And I just feel like, I don't know, maybe just the way it was put together. Maybe telling it in the order that it was told was kind of off-putting. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I think,
that's a conversation for another time.
I think the double flashback definitely.
That was weird.
And again, the amount of money they spent, like that is not sustainable, especially for streaming.
Yeah, that was wild. But anyway, speaking of movies and content coming out and stuff, we got a new movie coming out next month. Guys, I didn't even think about talking about this on the show tonight until we were talking about all the movies
can't wait for the final trailer for it dropped earlier this week. I can't wait to see it.
Mandalorian and Grogu comes out on what, the 22nd?
I'm bringing the gang back together. We're gonna go to that film, and we're gonna be, knee deep in popcorn. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm meeting up with about over 20 of my friends from Utini and Charlotte, and we're all gonna watch it together, which is gonna be crazy.
I'm probably going to break either Richard J's or Nick Albert's hearts, because I made a comment in our group chat the other day.
My heart.
I might mend your
Everyone.
heart. I might mend your heart right now. I don't know. I made a comment. We were talking about Grogu, Mando and Grogu, how it's coming out. It was the day the tickets went on sale is what it was. We were talking about that in the group chat. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to get tickets for opening night on this one. And it was like, I dropped a bomb in the chat. It was like, what? How are you going to have a podcast and not go see Star Wars? I was like, man, I don't know. I don't have like the hype for this one like I usually do. And I don't know what it is. I'm probably going to go ahead and get tickets for opening night because I've got 2 boys that want to go see it. And I'm not going to make them wait a week. So I'm probably still going to get tickets tomorrow. I get paid tomorrow. So I'm probably going to get tickets for this movie opening night. And JG and Richard J had a bet going. I think it was like $25 on whether I would go opening night or not. So I don't even remember which one had which side, but someone's going to lose that bet. But the hype just isn't there for me for this one. I've seen the trailers. I've seen the TV spots. I even watched that little like 40-some second clip they put out of Grogu shooting rockets at the speeder that they're on, which made me smile. I was like, that's hilarious. That's great. This looks like Star Wars. And then Zeb, I don't think he knows what he's doing. Yeah, no kidding. I don't know, man. I still stand, and this is a hill I'm going to die on. This is a mailbag question later on. This is answer to one of our mailbag questions. This is a hill I'm going to die on. I don't care what Lucasfilm says. I don't care what Jon Favreau says. I don't care what Pedro Pascal says. I don't care what Kathleen Kennedy says. I don't care what Dave Filoni says. This movie was going to be season 4 of The Mandalorian. It was going to be. And I disagree. And they started cutting it down. They started cutting stuff out that they didn't need. And they were like, crap, we only have like 3.5 hours. And so they're like, keep cutting. Get it down to like 2.5 and we'll just put it out as a movie because we haven't had one since Rise of Skywalker.
I thought the way Mando season ended was a near perfect ending, like just sitting on a beach, chilling.
I take, it was actually just a couple of days ago, maybe Monday or something, Favreau comes out with an interview saying that Mando season 4 basically got completely scrapped.
Yeah.
So whenever the whole writer's strike and everything
getting released
happened,
next month is what's happening.
No. So in the words of Favreau, he said that season 4 basically got scrapped once the strikes happened, everything. He was then approached to make a movie. Now season 4 was going to be basically tying everything Mandoverse together, having all the crew and everything come back together. So I would assume Boba, Fennec, everything, and connected, even have Thrawn showing up and connecting into Ahsoka season 2. Amazing. Writer strike happened, all the strikes happened. Hey, do you want to make a movie? Okay, well, since this is going to be now for like the public audience, people who maybe have not seen this, we have to dial this back. We can't be having all these characters. We can't have basically a homework for the audience. We need these people to go to this movie, not in case they didn't see Mando season 1 through 3 and Book of Boba Fett. So I take his word for it, and I know people in Hollywood lie all the time, especially like, oh, are you in this movie? No, I'm not. Then they're in the movie. Like, I get that.
Looking at you, Andrew Garfield.
I take him for this word because I think it just kind of makes sense because you're not gonna do what that was planned to do in this movie. Like, I'm not expecting Thrawn. I'm not expecting all these cameos or anything.
Some mentions,
maybe, yeah. And I do think there's gonna be some tie-ins because like we are leading to something of some sort, but I do think this is not what season 4 was supposed to be. I think this is a new story and a new fresh can of worms.
You can't convince me. I'm gonna die on this hill.
Maybe when you see the movie, it will.
Maybe the week
I
after
think
it comes
it's going
out.
to be partially. I think there has to be some continuity because that's who the characters are. Yeah. But I do think JG's right because the big screen still has to be the big screen. It still has to be sort of treated in a sort of separate lane, but not maybe an entirely different lane.
Here's the thing, though. Like, here's where I'm at, and here's where my brain space. Here's where my brain's at. Okay. We've had so many movie announcements from Lucasfilm over the last 5 years, 6 years. We had Rian Johnson's trilogy coming out. We had a Taika Waititi movie coming, a Rey movie. We have all these other movies, and just nothing. There's been this void. Like, we're back in the dark times again between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've seen this movie before, no pun intended. I've seen this movie before where it's like, oh, let's just throw something out just to get it over with so we can at least, and that was Rise of Skywalker, in my opinion. They just threw Rise of Skywalker together just to get it out, to get it over with. Just done with that. All right, let's take a break and move forward. And then they just took a break. And so I think it was so many movies because they had announced like that Rey movie was supposed to be out by now, wasn't it?
We never had a time.
We never got one? Okay. So I was like, as soon as they announced this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, I was like, yeah, that was a safe bet. It was season 4. It was a name that every household in the world knows because they see it on Disney Plus and they're like, this is going to be an awesome movie. Let's just do this. Let's just make this, and then we can kick it out. And the fact that season 4 got scrapped, like, in my mind, backs up that this is season 4. Like, they're like, oh, there's nothing to see over here. Here's your season 4 movie. Like,
it's interesting because I am in that same boat that this does scream, because this was right about the time when Iger was coming back in once Chapek got fired, basically.
Yes.
So this does scream of Iger
Safe
coming in and being like, hey, I need money from you guys. This green guy is making money. Let's put him on the big screen.
Exactly.
Like, and I do think they did ask John, because I do think, like, they would not do it without John. So I do think they would just take the L and basically not do it if he wasn't. And I think John is a team player and also excited to do something like that. But when it comes to the films and such, and it even comes to this, because I do think this was a Disney decision. We learned, again, this was happened during like our podcast hiatus here and everything. But the fact that they basically rejected the whole hunt for Ben Solo, I think Disney has had their hands in a lot more of the decision making and things, especially once Kathy basically announces her retirement. She comes out with 2 interviews that are like very actually like juicy, where she actually like basically gives you all the information about the movies. And so I think it's a mixture of Disney meddling when we never thought they were meddling, and maybe it's less of a Lucasfilm thing and it's Disney being Disney for whatever reason. And 2, it also seems like that a lot of the talent that they're bringing in, Rian Johnson, for example, he got brought in by Netflix to do the Knives Out movies. So he got busy. Taika Waititi is just, apparently he was like all over the place and doing crazy things.
That one's never gonna
But
happen.
apparently he turned a script in out of nowhere, which we've never thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I do think Lucasfilm is in a spot where they're just kind of playing with just what people give them. And so whether it's Disney saying yes or no, or whether it's these directors and writers actually doing things, you know, I mean, for all intents and purposes, they were supposed to start shooting on the hunt for Ben Solo. That movie was in pre-production.
They were that far in with it. I didn't realize that.
They were getting ready to make sets.
Wow.
They were like, everyone was like super excited. And so like, I'll preface as to say, does that movie make any sense? No. It is so bizarre and weird, but you know what? That's the risk that we should be taking.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But
and Disney said no.
But why this stands out to me is it's not like where the movie would take place and it makes 0 sense. The fact that we live in the world we do nowadays, where they're announcing movies 10 years out, right? And they're like, oh, we're going to make this movie and this movie and this movie. And I said it once and I'll say it again, and I stand by this. If Lucasfilm could make movies as well as they make movie announcements, we'd be eating so good with Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
But the fact that they got that deep into a Star Wars movie without anybody even knowing about it, at one side of my brain is going, wow, that's impressive. How did you do that? I have no idea how you got that far without anybody knowing. And then the other half of me is like, yeah, right. There's no way it got that far. You know what I mean? Because of what my other side of my brain is saying. And I'm stuck in the middle.
Adam Driver confirms it. I think that's the
wild.
That's the other thing that's crazy too, is that for all these time, for those of you, especially people really into like the movie industry and movies and film and such, we've always had this especially Star Wars fans, we've had this preconception that like Adam Driver was like done with Star Wars. Like he did his time. It was cool. Maybe it didn't end the best, but he was like fine and content with it. And he's never going to do that again. And the fact that Adam Driver of all people is the one that's like co-wrote this, pushing for this. And like, and because of this, like I will mark my word, like whether it's probably be at Celebration next year, like Adam Driver, Ben Solo, he's coming back.
You think?
I hope so.
That's why
let's mark his words.
That's why they're reworking. That's why they're reworking the Rey movie, and that's why Daisy's been so cheeky about like, oh, like when she keeps getting asked about her movie and such, like she's doing her little smile, like she knows something. And I think, not to get too silly goofy, but I do think that they've learned their lessons from the sequel trilogy. They've learned their lesson from this past couple years of trying to make films. The next movie trilogy is going to be shot all at once, and it's going to be written and directed by a singular vision.
That I agree with. Yes.
And they're going to release it one after another once they've finished filming all 3 together.
Yes. That I completely agree with. You hit the nail on the head with that one. They learned from that. from the backlash and everything. But man, don't get me started on this Rey movie. I don't want to be in that kind of movie.
It's going to be, it's reworked into like basically whatever episode 10 will be. Like the Rey movie, the Hunt for Ben Solo, whatever other things they've been cooking up that we don't know about. Like that is all being reworked. Like she even talks about the Soderbergh or someone is writing the trilogy basically, that he turned in a part of the script or whatever, a draft or whatever. It was a long treatment of over 100 pages or something super long.
Sheesh.
And it's like way bigger, which is why people are like, oh yeah, it's a trilogy, duh. But then they had to basically rework it. It was supposed to turn it in by the end of March actually. So things are cooking.
I don't know. I have zero faith in that movie until I see something. I
don't think that movie exists anymore. I think that movie's episode 10. That's why.
Oh yeah. No, if they ever do a Rey movie, and I've said that before too, if they ever did a movie focused around Rey, they have to make a hard decision. They have to either say that this is episode 10 and that this is the continuation of the Skywalker saga, or Rey was not a Skywalker at the end of 9. Like that was the decision.
Episode 10 is the start of a new saga.
Yeah, but
it could still be episode 10.
But it would still have to be the Star Wars. Then it would be episode 1 of a new saga. Which I'm all for that too.
From a certain point of view.
I'm all for that. I would do. I like to think that someday we would live in a world where there's like 7 different sagas going at once, and all of them. We got episode 3 coming out next year, and episode 5 this year of this one, and you know, and
we're
like
really gonna hurt the casual brains.
I know. I would. That's why we're here, to keep all of this in order. So that's where I in my headspace, that's where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd be eating so good. That'd be so great.
Can't wait to see a High Republic saga on the big screen. Cannot wait.
You know what? That's coming. I think there's some High Republic stuff coming down. They put way too much time and effort into that for it to just be books and one series.
Exactly.
I think they have got something.
Content is so much. It's so cool. It's so good. The bare little morsels of taste that I've had with Brian guiding me through it have been so good.
Yeah, it's been great. Hey, you know what? Speaking of High Republic, we got a couple novels to review tonight, and we're already going on an hour. So let's get into these. Hey, for those of you that don't know, Usef is reading High Republic books for the very first time. And we started at the very beginning of phase 2, so we're reading them chronologically. And tonight we are going to be reviewing 2 pieces of canon material. And I think me and JG are going to butt heads on one of them. You know, as a matter of fact, that's the first one we're talking about. And I'm just gonna do this and put JG right in the middle of us.
Oh no.
So he has to take on both of us right now. All right. So he's stuck in the middle. The first one we're going to be reviewing tonight is Convergence by Zoraida Cordova. This is the first big novel that kind of takes place, or the first Del Rey novel that takes place in the High Republic Phase 2. We're looking at about 382 BBY, and this is kind of the kickoff of everything that is going to end up leading into Phase 1 of High Republic. Kind of some prequel storytelling here, and not like episodes 1, 2, and 3 prequels. I mean like prequel to Phase 1 stuff. There's some foundation building there that we definitely needed, I think, before Phase 1 came out. Maybe not. I don't know. But this is an awesome book. I love this book so much. And I'm not going to say who doesn't like it. I'm not going to say who doesn't like it. But I thought this was a really great book. Quick summary real quick. There's these 2 neighboring planets, Iram and Irono. Did I say those right? For those of you who listen to audiobooks. Okay. I don't listen to audiobooks. Yeah. I just read the book on my Kindle, so I don't know how they're pronounced. Iram and Irono, they've been at war for years. They're a twin planet system. And they're kind of locked in this weird civil war. One is this oceanic planet, which I kind of side with more than Irono, honestly. It just seems cooler. And then you've got Irono with like this barren rock desert planet, and they've been at war, and this war is now getting to the point where it's affecting the rest of the galaxy with trade routes. Who saw that coming? And hyperspace lanes and everything like that, and growth, and even growth of the Republic. We're at a point where the Republic is still growing into the Outer Rim, and so there's these 2 heirs that decide to end the conflict, and then they decide to get married: the Princess of Irono and the Prince of Iram. They decide to get married. Both planets are just like completely against it at first, and they're like, "No, we are not," because they're ingrained in war. I mean, that would be like, the Jews and the Germans, trying to solve everything with a marriage. Like, that's going to go over well. And so it's not to bring up anything bad. My bad. Has it been long enough?
It should be more like India versus Pakistan.
Thank you.
We'll just go with that relatable.
One. We'll go with that.
No, not because it's easier or worse. Just like it's more relatable. But no, you're still saying
we'll go with that.
Like,
we'll go with that one. Usef, you saved me there. We'll go with that. Pretend I didn't say that. I did not mean to bring up the Holocaust on my podcast. Oh my God. But anyway, we're introduced to some characters, and there's a character in this book that I'm really interested to hear Usef's take on, because this is a character I know that he really enjoyed from one of the other pieces of canon that we read, talking about Axel Greylark and the Jedi Gela. How do you say her last name? Natai? I
don't know on the top of my head.
Okay,
it's been a while.
Well, it's spelled Nattai, so Natai. I'm gonna assume. These two are awesome. I love these characters together. I love their dynamic. I love that she is just always so annoyed by him, and he's just his own kind of character. So we met Axel Greylark in The Queen's Bloom. Usef, this is the kid that was skipping class and faking sick and all that. I'm going to hand it over to you guys. Well, actually, hang on. Before we get into the negatives, JG, Usef, what did you think of this book, man? I want to know, like, what your thoughts were on it. What did you think going into it? Because I know you said with some of the other stories we've read, it's kind of slow. It's doing a lot of universe building right now. For people who are starting chronologically, this is some of the entry point for some people for Star Wars. So there's a lot of, and you have to have it because you're in a way different time period now. What did you think of this one? Did you feel like maybe they were finally picking up the pace with this one and kind of pushing the story forward? What were your thoughts on this one?
So yes, in terms of events and in terms of it feeling more like of a galactic story, yes. This feels more like Star Wars. I'm not saying the first ones didn't, but the fact that this is like planets and warring planets was very cool to me. It's a pretty straightforward story. There was a name overload, like I was overloaded with characters all over again. And this seems to be a recurring thing that's going to happen to me with the High Republic. So it's going to be a little bit tough, I'll be honest with you, but it does not, if I treat every novel on its own and I'll give it its own merit as its own story, and then I'll be like, oh yes, I know that character from before. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of have to wrap your head around that a little bit. And you should have sort of have to take them and just roll with the punches, just roll with what story gives you. So that being said, the main highlight obviously was Axel Greylark, because he steals the show. Like everything else that happens in this book, he steals the show. Yeah. The Jedi in this story felt secondary, and it worked. It worked, and I really liked that. I really actually liked that. So Axel hates the Jedi. He sees them as like arrogant outsiders of sorts. A very cool point about the story, as a standalone story, there is this story of romance, the stuff that you mentioned there with the prince and the princess and them getting married and all this stuff. It's not just, I'm not saying you simplify it because you didn't. Like it's not simply, oh yeah, hey, by the way, like we decided to get married, hoorah.
Right.
It's not that at all.
There's a lot of contention.
Yeah. So, well, hang on. Before I spend time on Prince Fontu and Princess Shiri.
Ziri? I think it's Ziri, isn't it?
Okay.
I don't know. You guys tell me. I just read it on Kindle. It's what? Ziri? Okay.
Ziri.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm if I do spend a little bit of time on Axel Greylark, so for me, he was just easily the most interesting character in the whole book because of, the sort of strife that goes in and then the whole back turn that he does at the end. It's just so cool. On the surface, he comes from like this privileged, arrogant politician's son. And, his mom, by the way, not his dad, because it's not a stereotypical time period at all. High Republic is really flipping the stereotypes on its head, which is fantastic. So, I mean, even Prince Fontu, you'd expect him to be sort of like the boisterous, sort of brave prince, whatever. It's the other way around. Princess Ziri is really the courageous one. She's the one getting the blaster out and saying, Fontu, get down. And then she's like,
I love her.
Whatever. Exactly. Super cool, super brave, very, very, very inspiring. I'd love to see this in like Fallen Jedi, a Star Wars Fallen Jedi DLC sort of thing. I'd absolutely love it. And I do hope that gaming reaches this point one day where I can just sort of have this plugged into VR and see a story like this. Because when you see Greylark on a screen, you can see character that there's a lot more going on underneath. you can see what makes him stand out is actually his distrust of the Jedi, why he doesn't see them as heroes. And this is new because we're always seeing Jedi as heroes, right? So for me, this is quite a new perspective. It's kind of refreshing. You know, the book in general, it's a pretty straightforward story, as I was saying. There's like a lot of stuff. You get a lot of big turning points. There's an assassination attempt. There's, you know, stuff that flips around. There's we go back to war, and there's a proper war, and there's a big like political discussion, and there's different narratives, there's different natures, there's different this. It's very cool to see such two distinct, you know, a book described two distinct people that you've never heard of because they're not from Earth, so they're very different to any country that you might see. But I just sort of put in two countries that I know have an issue in my head just to tell people, oh, it's kind of like these guys. So, but they're not that similar. They don't have the same exact history. And there's a whole history that's explained. And there's a whole different thing. There's an entire investigation into it. Yeah, there was just a lot of strong moments in this book, like, and the relationship between the prince and the princess, which I want to get into. Like, it led into them going into, wow, I'm starting to feel attracted to this person. Like, yeah, we're supposed to be betrothed, even though I know nothing about him, just because it's for our planets, and we're doing this for our planets because we can't keep having war forever. But actually, we see eye to eye because he's actually sort of very progressive, and he's not blaming us for anything. And I'm sort of trying to blame them for their aggression, but he's not agreeing with me. He's not disagreeing with me. He's just saying what's coming to his mind. I actually find that refreshing. I actually find that interesting. You know, it's not like he doesn't have a backbone. It's actually interesting. That sort of back and forth, even though it's been a long time since I've read the movie, just looking back at my notes before we got on to, I remembered everything about the movie, the book, because it's an audiobook that I play in my head because I'm quite visual. But yeah, I remembered everything about the book. And this was very cool to me that I read the notes and I was like, yeah, I got it. I remember it. And it stands out. And I remember what I was talking about. I remember the characters. I remember what they looked like in my head. I remember how they were described. I remember how Greylark did what he did at the end of the book. And that was so cool. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So that was a bit of a rant, but I enjoyed reading. It was a nice, enjoyable experience. I mean, I wouldn't rate it particularly high, but it's a good story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And obviously, I'm not going to ask you the important question, which is, am I going to see Axel Greylark again? Which characters am I going to see again?
You will.
Do I see Iram and Irono again or not? I will, yes. And you did say that before. Yeah.
You will, yeah.
I'm just hoping that this isn't the part in High Republic where automatically people start dying immediately.
Not yet. We're getting there.
Not yet? Okay, good.
It's coming. I'm just letting you know. It is coming.
It's going to be so sad. When
sooner than you think. It's coming.
So sad.
Yeah, it's sooner than you think. I'm not going to tell you when. Oh my god.
Anyway.
Oh my god.
Let's hand over the mic now. But yes.
Yeah. So I want to hear JG defend his opinions about this book, and I'm probably going to just kick him off the podcast after this because it depends on how bad you roast it. Let's go. Let's see what you got.
All right. So I have two things to preface. First, one, I have not read this book since it released, which was back in 2022. Second, I read them as they were released. So knowing that context, I had just gotten off the high of Phase 1 for those who have read it, knowing how Phase 1 ends with the final adult book, and also specifically the cliffhanger of the final story, which is the final YA, Midnight Horizon. You know, there are definitely a lot of questions. And then when we find out that we're going back in time, we're like, oh, we're doing the whole George Lucas thing. That's cute. That's fun. What are we doing? We'll give it a shot. Yes, we'll give it a shot. But it's like, at that time, we had so much momentum and so much, like, what's next? To then be
if you had read them chronologically, would you have preferred that?
I don't know. Though. I don't. That's it. Because now I have come around. Then because for me, I'm one of the few that once I read Phase 3, I'm like, okay, Phase 2 makes a lot more sense. And I'm like, I see why we did this. I don't know if I think it works creatively, but at the cost of marketing. And I think it's also why Phase 3 lost a lot of steam and momentum, and a lot of the fan base kind of fell off. Yeah. To focus on this story, from what I remember it being slow and a slog and kind of just not having as much interest and care going into this. I'm also pretty sure this was the first story that comes out, I believe, like published wise for Phase 2. Or the YA came out first. If the YA came out first, that explains it more. Because in my opinion, and some other people will agree with me, contrary to Phase 1 and 3, in my opinion, the main story, like the main driving story of Phase 2 is through the YA books.
Yes.
And not the adult books. The adult books is actually the side story.
Yes.
I
completely
and I
agree
do think
with
this
that,
first book it doesn't have a lot going for me from my memory. The characters were fine and memorable, and it does pick up into like I like the second book a lot better, in which you'll get to
Cataclysm,
experience. Like I don't hate anything in the High Republic. It is my favorite era. I think it's very special. This is probably my least favorite adult book. However, I have been wanting to reread it, and so I do think if I do reread it, I might attempt to go chronologically, and maybe now with some distance, now that it's like 2026 and such, maybe I look back on it with a better viewpoint, especially knowing where things end up going, especially in Phase 3. I could see myself having a different opinion, but I know taking JG back to November 2022 when this book released, I was very disappointed upon the conclusion of this story.
All right, I won't keep you in the middle anymore. I'll get you out of the hot seat. I really enjoy this one. You know, we brought up Ziri and Fantu. I really thought they were great together. And that's a great romance story. And so we can talk about later on when we get to Battle of Jeddah and some of the other future stuff with their wedding and everything and kind of what it felt like to me. But I really thought those two worked really well together, and I was rooting for them. I was like, man, I really hope this works out for you guys. Exactly. I really hope it does. I have since we did the hiatus on the podcast, I have finished Phase 2 again. I reread all of Phase 2. And so I'm probably gonna have to go back and reread again, and it'll be my third time through some of it. Because we're gonna do all the comics, all the short stories from Star Wars Insider, everything in chronological order, everything chronologically.
Brian, God bless him, took the comic to his work and scanned every single page for me.
I have been taking my comic books to scan them at work and then emailing them page by page to use them so that he can read them. And so he's
a soldier because I can't get him.
I'm trying, man. I try to help you guys out when I can.
I can't believe there isn't like an app online where I can just read them. Even because I tried a VPN and it didn't work for some reason. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Like I'm doing everything wrong. I can't connect my work. I can't connect the VPN. When
we get into the Battle of Jeddah, that story is told over like several mediums. It's over the comics. Yeah. There's an audiobook. There's a novel. I mean, the novel is the audiobook. Now think about it.
It's a lot.
There's a lot to the Battle of Jeddah.
It's too much in my opinion.
It's a lot. And so I was like, part of my brain was like, I'm going to make Usef. I'm seriously going to break this down, and we're going to read 3 chapters of this book, and then we're going to listen to this part of the audio drama. We're going to read 7 comic books, and we're going to go back. And I was going to do that, and I was like, I ain't got time to sit down and figure all this out. I was like, so we're probably going to I feel like the comics don't mention anything really happening in the books a whole lot, so we'll probably read the comics first, and then we'll do the audio drama. I keep saying the books, but the book is just the script of the audio drama. I don't know why I keep saying that. But we'll probably listen to the audio drama and then kind of polish it off with some of the other comics that I think happen afterwards. And then some of the short stories from like Tales of Enlightenment and stuff like that. That way it's not too convoluted and it's like, oh, okay, now we're going to lose track of where we're at. Because this week, didn't we talk about those comics last week? No. Are we on these? I don't remember. So we're just going to try to keep it as simple as possible at the same time keeping the integrity of what being chronological. So I'm trying to figure out what order to read it in that you get the most bang for your buck, because you hear about things in the audio drama that happens in the comics, and then you read the comics and you hear about stuff that happens in the Tales of Enlightenment stories. And I'm like, but then if you read those, you kind of got to have to know what's going on in the audio drama. And it's like, it's all over the place. So there's a lot to the Battle of Jeddah, and I'm actually kind of dreading getting us to it, which actually we're coming up on it after we finish these 2 reviews. We're gearing up for Battle of Jeddah stuff. But anyway, go ahead.
I just fact checked myself real quick, and that it is so Path of Deceit came out before Convergence, and so I think definitely, because I know I adore Path of Deceit, and
I love that book.
I freaking love.
I enjoyed it.
The other one, the final one,
Path of Vengeance.
Yes. So I think definitely if I had just come off of reading Path of Deceit and then went into this, then absolutely that definitely led to my disappointment then.
You said something earlier, JG, about how the young adult novels were like the main books of Phase 2. You're absolutely right. because there's things, and I don't want to ruin anything for Usef, but if you have read the books, you know what I'm talking about. There's a huge plot point about a certain character's fate that is not even in the Del Rey books. It's in the young adult books. And you're like, why wouldn't you have put that in the main novel?
When people tell me like what is like the core story that I need to read, I say read the adult books of phase 1, read the YA books of phase 2, and read the adult books of phase 3.
Yes.
And if you want a little extra sauce to go with it, listen to the audio dramas.
Yeah. And so, Path of Deceit and Path of Vengeance, I adore those 2 books. I told Usef too, going into it, I was like, I want you to get so attached to every single character. I just want you to get so attached to anybody who wields a lightsaber. I want you to love every last one of them like they're your own children.
Torturer.
Yeah, absolutely. You just get attached. Don't even think about it. Don't just trust me. I was like, trust me. I'm not trying to emotionally scar you. I promise.
Oh, you're not? You're not?
Oh, no, I really am. I'm out to hurt you. And so, but no, I really enjoyed this book quite a bit. I thought it was a really good kickoff. See, I was with you, JG, the first time I read this. I had just come off of phase 1, and then I read this, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. But now this time, it'd been long enough since I had read anything High Republic that I was like, I'm going to start here. And then I kind of was able to go in with a fresh mind and to go, okay, this is where we're at, and then go through it. And I can, now that I'm reading it this way, I can see the universe building. I can see the foundation being laid. And I'll tell you something else. You might get mad at me for this. I haven't finished phase 3 yet. I'm like 3 books behind.
How have you not finished?
I was one of the people that fell off. I was one of those people that fell off of High Republic. I've got all the books. I've got Beware the Nameless, The Tears of the Nameless, and Trials of the Jedi. I've got them all. I've never read them.
Never read them. That's crazy because those final 3 books are just like a speed race to the end.
Are they?
Yeah.
Figures.
And that's even like we talk about how like, oh, maybe they'll do something High Republic related on the big screen or something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, like this saga of stories has an ending. But oh boy, do we have some questions still.
You know what? I'll give some credit to the people who have read it, because how long has phase 3 been wrapped up now? A year and a half? Maybe a year?
Yeah.
Something
maybe
like that.
A year or two, something like that. Time is weird.
And I still have not had it ruined for me. I have no idea how phase 3 ends. There's been 0 spoilers of it. I haven't seen anything anywhere of anybody talking about anything that happened that I don't know about. And I'm like, I kind of appreciate that.
I think people are very, especially when it comes to High Republic, I think people are very protective of the experience because it is an experience to have that much story spanning across so many different mediums and such, that there is such an investment to commit to that. And so to read Trials is properly like a definitive
finale,
really? Conclusion.
You got me excited for it. Usef, we got to book it through these, man.
It's special. It is it's special.
Got me excited.
It's special.
Well, since we're working our way through High Republic, first off, anything else you guys want to add about these books, about Convergence before we move on?
I was just gonna say it really it makes me excited to continue High Republic.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because we have a lot more to go, and I really don't feel like just stopping us reading this and be like, read whatever,
Good.
So
can't wait.
Let's talk about the other one that we're gonna. Oh, by the way, I give Convergence like 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed that book a lot. I was actually, when I started reading the High Republic stuff again, I actually was looking forward specifically to rereading that one. I really enjoyed that one a lot.
I'll reread it. I'll catch up and give you an update.
Yeah, let me know. I want to know what your thoughts, because that's why I like having people with different points of view on the show, like Usef, who had read it for the first time and not knowing anything, and you've read all of it, and then and so I like having those different points of view. So I really, let me know how.
Steven
how
was so excited. Steven was like, I can't believe you get to read them as if you like for the first time. Like, oh man, like I wish I could do that again. I was like, whoa, Steven, are you serious? Like, I'm dead serious.
Steven really loves them too.
You got to trust us, Usef. Trust us. Trust the
process.
process.
No, I do.
Trust the process.
Maybe not. I'm getting emotionally attached, but I do.
There's a reason that I want to get some of my first tattoos to be like quotes from the High Republic. Like that is how important and impactful these are.
Wow.
Fair enough.
All right, that's almost bigger praise. Wow.
Okay, so
Quest for the Hidden City.
Let's get into Quest for the Hidden City. This is one of, not a young adult novel, but this is more like a young reader novel. And I really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. I'm going to pop JG off the screen here for just a second because he's got to run and take care of something real quick. And we just didn't want to be staring at an empty seat the whole time. We'd rather see JG's face. And so, let's talk about Quest for the Hidden City for a minute. Usef, you had a hard time getting your hands on this one. This is one that you were not able to find in Egypt. Even online, even to purchase.
I couldn't even order it or even online. Or
That's wild to me.
It's so strange. It's so strange. Because all the websites that I searched, they were like, this content is not available in your region. It was this and that. And then I couldn't find a store to bring it over. And then, it was just...
that's my bad. JG wasn't the one that had to go do something. Usef was.
That's fine. It's all good.
My bad. JG decided to go take care of something real quick. After we get your thoughts on it, then we'll switch over and bring JG back and take Usef off for a minute. But yeah, my bad, JG. If you can still hear me, my bad. I just realized that was Usef. But anyway, no, this is one that I really enjoyed a lot. So I figured I would just kind of give Usef a rundown of this one. It was very, very interesting. You're introduced to some new characters, main characters.
Yeah, again,
more names.
Yeah.
The main character, the main two Jedi are Salandra Show, who is very special. She's kind of unique, and her Padawan Rupert Natani, not to be confused with Gela Natai. Two different characters that look very similar, and they both have two lightsabers, and it's weird. They look like a copy of each other. But Salandra Show is very different, and I really like her in my opinion. She is unique in a way that she carries a shield with her, and with also a lightsaber. And so she likes to use the shield more. She sees Jedi as more of a shield to protect people more than to hurt anybody. And so she carries this, like, I guess it's like a Gungan energy shield. That's kind of what I picture in my head, the kind of Gungan technology of what they had. JG, is that kind of what you gather from that?
In regards to what specifically?
Sandra Show's shield.
Oh, I always maybe it's probably the real thing. It's so silly. I always envisioned it, and I can never get it out of my head. I always envision it as like Cap's America's shield for some reason.
Yeah, because she takes off and uses the Force at one point in this book to throw it at these creatures, and it's bouncing off them. I can just hear Spider-Man. That does not follow the laws of physics at all. I can see it now. Hey, Usef, if you want to go ahead and step off for a second and go take care of what you got to take care of, man, you can. JG,
no, after this, because I want to
enough.
talk about Quest for Hidden City really quick.
Fair enough.
So wait for that shield. If anybody listening, if anybody's played Skyrim, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, there's a shield in there called Spellbound, or it deflects magic spells, as well as it's the only shield in the game that can actually do that. So it is a shield. So it's like it's iron shield and everything, or whatever the material is. I can't remember now. Dwarven, I think. But it also has like a sort of force field around the edges of the shield. That's what I was picturing. Okay. Rather than a Gungan shield. So I just, and it's never, is it? It's not properly described as what it looks like.
It just says a shield, a round
physically
shield,
looks like. Exactly. But it is powered with her force as well. So she uses it.
She uses the force
through the shield as well. And it's so cool as well. Like she can use the force to obviously, if you can use the force, then you are a little bit what's the word? Telekinetic. But at the same time, so she uses the shield to sort of shield herself. As a force, you can sort of shield yourself. But yeah, that's kind of how I envision it. Anyway,
I think it's really cool. I think it's a really
me too.
It's a very unique take for a Jedi, and a proper take. I can definitely see where she's coming from with that point of view of the Force. I totally understand that. But these two, they meet up with a Pathfinder team. At this point in the Republic, the Republic is sending out Pathfinder teams with Jedi and like a medic and some other explorers to map hyperspace routes to the mid-rim, to the outer rim, to these other planets, and especially out in wild space and the outer rim. And so it's very, very cool thing to be doing. I mean, it makes total sense. It kind of makes me a little worried about Old Republic, because if you go back even further, like how constricted is the galaxy going to be in an Old Republic setting, rather than, if we're just now exploring with the High Republic. Kind of makes me a little worried about that. But they're dropping communication beacons also, so that they can start to get communication with the outer rim and stuff like that. Very cool concept. They meet up with this Pathfinder team, and they go to this planet called, what was the name of the planet?
Gloam.
It was Gloam, yeah. But it was a planet and a moon, wasn't it? The planet was Gloam. And then Abadas
or something.
Abadas was the planet, was the name of the moon. And there's a...
Or the Catacoot are creatures, I'm sorry.
Yes, the Catacoot. That was the name of the creatures that live here. They're very large, bat-like creatures. And I kind of picture like Man-Bat from Batman. That's kind of what I picture is like Man-Bat. And so you throughout the story, you find out that what had happened was these Catacoot had mined Abadas. And if I'm getting those switched around, let me know, because I'm thinking it was Gloam was the planet and Abadas was the moon. But anyway, they were mining it to power their planet, and so they were using these minerals to mine it. And they started. I mean, they basically ran off the planet by these mutated creatures that they didn't know what they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Jedi go to this moon to try to find this Pathfinder team that has, disappeared. And, or no, they went to find another Jedi crew. Yeah, it was another Pathfinder team with another Jedi and everything to go see what had happened. And they run into these, like, it's George Mann's, like, writing at its best. This is, like, screams George Mann. It's like zombie Catacoot that are kind of crystallized a little bit. And when they cut them with like lightsabers and shoot them with blasters, they basically explode into like all these minerals and they just bleed out on the ground, these minerals. So they're sentient like minerals controlling as like a hive mind kind of thing, these Catacoot. And you find out that these Catacoot are the ancient Catacoot from centuries past that were left on the planet after they left to go to Gloam. Very cool story. It was, for being a young reader book, got through it in like 3 and 4 hours, something like that. And it was such a fun read. It was just powered through it. I really enjoyed this one. I know I can't really ask Usef, like, what did you think of it, since Egypt sucks, apparently. I don't mean that. I love Egypt. I want to go to Egypt so bad. If you guys are in Egypt, I'm kidding. I truly want to visit Egypt. Usef can vouch for me. We've talked about this.
Absolutely.
JG, you read this one. What was your take on this one? What was your take on Quest for the Hidden City?
I remember really enjoying this because I don't think there has been a single middle grade that I was disappointed by. Shockingly, the middle grade have been really good and very consistent. And they're very consistent also of not dumbing down to their readers and such. Like some of these books have a lot of high stakes and a lot of importance for, especially these ones in phase 2, because a lot of it sets up a lot for phase 3, shockingly. And so yeah, I remember having a good time with it. This one doesn't quite stand out to me as some of the other ones, but I definitely have never been disappointed by one of the middle grade books. And again, they're such an easy read, especially if you get the physical copies. They come with some great art and illustration, which for the High Republic is kind of hard to get sometimes. So to see some of these characters come to life and such, it's worth everything. And yeah, they're really good.
So I was able to read a bunch of different summaries from these very nice sort of like reviewers.
Oh, you probably got the gist
and
of it.
I saw a lot of the artwork that you're talking about.
Mhm.
What struck me here was the atmosphere, like the whole vibe of what, and the mystery of it. And that's super cool. Like I want more of that. So it's more Star Wars exploration, putting in the galaxy together, reading more about the planets. That's what was cool. And I read a lot about like the story, why, like which characters are there, what happens, because I'm worried I'm going to miss something here. Like maybe the characters are important, maybe they're going to end up in later. What about this? What about that? So I read up a bit about that, a bunch about that, but I can't say that I've read the whole thing, or I couldn't even find it.
Well, with the middle grade books, you're not going to miss a whole lot. They like loosely cross over with everything else that's going on with the young adult and the Del Rey. Well, okay, I take that back.
I'm about to say phase 3, there was some very important
so
stuff.
I haven't read all of phase 3 yet though. So I'm talking about just in phase 2.
That's fair, but we were shocked that there was
because the other one
audio dramas.
Oh, yeah. The other one, the other one we'll talk about later after Battle of Jeddah and everything, Quest for Planet X. I was like you with that one on this one. I feel like that one was a little more forgettable than this one was for me. And that one crosses over more with what's going on in the bigger story than this one does.
Oh yes.
No, in a huge way, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, that whole battle. I completely forgot about that. But anyway, so you're not going to miss anything really not reading this one word for word, Usef, I don't think. As long as you know Salandra Show and Rupa Natani and Doslef Brook and Spence, his dad Spence. As long as you know those characters moving forward, I think you're going to be okay. Go ahead.
Speaking of like horror and such too, because this one definitely has the George Mann like kind of horror vibes of it all.
Yes.
Like not to also in current like news and such, we got that announcement from Kirsten White that we're getting a middle grade horror book. Coming out later in the year, Hiding from the Dark. So middle grade is definitely a place where they like to play with horror, which I think is very interesting. It's giving like the goosebumps of it all, the goosebump and Fear Street of it all.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to pop Usef out for just a minute here so he can go do what he's got to do. I think he just needs some more water or something. I don't know. Got to water the camel. Okay, so I hope he didn't hear me say that. I didn't mean that in a bad way. I was just trying to make a joke and be funny. And now, as soon as it left my mouth, I was like, that could have been taken the wrong way. And I did not mean for that at all. He will probably never come back again. So I really like this one a lot. And it's a great introduction to Salandra Show, who's a huge character in Battle of Jeddah that we're going to be moving into. And even moving into Cataclysm. She's kind of big moving into Cataclysm too. And so I really thought this one was great. You brought up the George Mann horror thing. George Mann, I don't think he's ever written something I didn't like. He did all the Dark Legends. He did the Myths and Fables. He did all those. And those were like in-universe legends, right? Like legends that could exist within the Star Wars universe that they sit around. I love those. Those were so good. They were dark. Some of them were actually scary. You're like, what is happening right now? And so to me, George Mann just hasn't missed yet. And so anytime I see his name on a letterheading a book, I'm like, yes, absolutely.
He writes the kickoff adult book for Phase 3, right? The one has Martian on the cover. Am I correct? Or am I going crazy?
I feel like you're right. I feel like you're right. And he wrote...
Yeah, because I remember that one. I remember being very high on that one.
Yeah, I think you're right, because Charles Soule wrote the first for Phase 1, and then he wrote the final book for Phase 3. Didn't
correct,
he? He did the two bookends, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right.
Darkness.
I think it was George
Yes,
Mann.
he did.
Eye of Darkness, yeah.
Eye of Darkness.
I love Eye of Darkness. I can't wait to talk about Eye of Darkness. That is such a good book.
I am way higher at Eye of Darkness than most people.
I love that book. And honestly, though, and not to skip ahead, but and I can't wait for Usef to read The Fallen Star for the first time. I hate you, JG. You hated that book, didn't you? Oh, I thought you did. Oh, okay.
No.
You had that look like, oh, you're going to hate me. Okay.
No, I adore that book.
Okay. Then I take it back. I don't hate you, JG. I embrace you. So, yeah, no, I can't wait for Usef to read The Fallen Star for the first time. I can't wait for him to read Light of the Jedi. Well, he's already read Light of the Jedi once, I think. But some of these other books, I mean, I can't wait. Temptation of the Force. I loved Temptation of the Force. So
shockingly good.
It's so good. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at in the timeline now. We've just finished this first part of Phase 1. We're kind of getting into this like weird like mid climax to Phase 2.
Yeah.
I feel like Phase 2 had two big climaxes. It was like very middle, there was like a huge Act 2 and then into a huge Act 3, and it's like, whoa, my gosh. So I'm
the Night of Tears.
The Night of was it the Night of Tears? Night of Tears? Night of Sorrows? No, the Night of Sorrows is
it's something super tragic.
What was the Mandalorian one? What was the Mandalorian one that they were like the Night of 1,000? Oh, Night of 1,000. Right. What was it? Night of 1,000 Tears? Tears, maybe?
Hold on. High Republic.
Oh no! Do we have to GTS? Don't we?
I have Google it. Like when it out. It is a Night of Sorrow.
Night of Sorrow. Okay. I was thinking. I thought that's what it was, but I wasn't sure.
I think a Night of 1,000 Tears is the
Mandalorian thing.
Purge.
Okay. So
listen, there's a lot of sad nights in Star Wars.
There's so much.
You know, Order 66. All that.
Yeah. Oh man, we're just playing musical spots here now, aren't we? Here we go. Now we're back with the Brady Bunch. Okay. So anyway, Usef, we were just talking about books we can't wait for you to read for the first time. Moving forward into High Republic, we're excited about it. So that is where we're at on the timeline now. Quest for the Hidden City. Very fun little read. Not necessarily necessary, I guess is the way to say that, at the risk of sounding redundant. But a fun read. I think it's worth picking it up and actually sitting down and going through it and adding it to what you know already from phase 2 and what's going on. So, that's our reviews for those 2 books. Before we get into the villain bracket, because we still got a little ways to go on this episode. Before we get into the villain bracket, I wanted to plug something real quick. I didn't plug it at the beginning of the episode, and I meant to. I wanted to announce that Star Wars Canon.net is officially back with a vengeance and thriving. I am so excited about this website. So for those of you that don't know, this podcast is the main podcast of Star Wars Canon.net. It's my baby. I'm still working on it. Yes, it's a work in progress. It's going to evolve. I feel like I've brought it back from the dead.
It's already evolved from Star Wars Canon Library.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm adoring how it's turning out so far. Usef has got blog post up. We're doing blogs now. We're writing off the air thoughts. Usef's got thoughts up. I've got a few up. I know JG is probably itching to get some blog stuff up for the website. I'm looking forward to seeing what this website's going to turn into. So if you guys go to that website, you can see timelines for not only canon stuff, but Legends as well. Compliments of Richard J. Richard J is the one that sat down and put that entire timeline together for Legends for us to put on the website. Both those timelines are there. You can send in a mailbag question to this podcast through that website. You can see the little bar thing scrolling down there for the link. And there's all kinds of other fun stuff on there you guys can go check out. Upcoming books that are coming out soon. What else do I have on there? I don't even know everything that I have on there. We've all got bios on there and stuff like that. There's a newsletter that's going to be starting in like September, I think is when I'm going to start it. We're going to be doing a monthly newsletter with book announcements, comic announcements, just basic news, stuff like that. Maybe
updates on our blog posts.
Maybe a couple of blog posts some of our favorite blog posts that we posted that month, stuff like that. So head on over there. I'll get the sign up on the site for the newsletter very soon. I had it up and then I took it down because I'm trying to figure some stuff out. But we're getting there. We are getting there. I'm very excited about it. I wrote an entire blog on 5 edits to the sequel films to make it a proper trilogy. If you guys are interested in that, if you haven't heard my explanation on this podcast, go over there and read that. And I'm very, very excited about that. So, not only is the website going really well, but our socials are kicking off. We finally have a blue check mark on Twitter. Which is like a huge win for me, in my opinion. Visit us on Facebook. It is, facebook.com/Star Wars Canon Podcast. Twitter is at SW Canon Podcast because it was the only thing that was going to fit for the handle, which sucked. I think it was like one or two letters shy. But anyway, go follow us on all that. Go join our community on YouTube where I post the villain brackets, which we are getting ready to talk about. So with all the shameless plugging out of the way, go check out the website. Usef, let's get into your villain bracket for the week. This is kind of a big one. Yes, this is our return show. But it's kind of weird that we're ending this group on the return show. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to let Usef explain it. It's his baby. He's probably getting tired of me not explaining it and letting him do it. In just a few words in a nutshell, what is the villain bracket? What was the goal behind it? And what are we doing with it?
Anybody who has listened to this podcast before knows that I'm a huge villain nut. I love fiends. I think that the greater the villain, the greater the story. The villain might be abstract. The villain might be just some guy who wants to, rule the world in his own way or shape anything in his future. The greater the villain, then the greater the hero has to rise to defeat him, or the heroes, or the effort that it takes, or the faith, or the belief in yourself. And what really, drives a villain is what interests me. So why do I like villains? It's because where they come from. Why? You have everything from Admiral Tarkin and Sidious to something more conflicting like Thanos in Marvel. If you have this sort of concept where you believe in something and you want to do it in your own way, it's like Assassins versus Templars for all you gamers out there who play Assassin's Creed Templars. So the Templars, some of them just want the control of it. And some Templars actually, no, we think order is the way to go. It is our salvation. We're actually trying to save humanity. We're actually trying to take it forward. So these, it's all about these different things because this is humanity at the end of the day. We may disagree. That meme, well, it's not a meme. It's supposed to be a lesson. When you have a 6 drawn on the ground, and Brian is standing on one end and JG standing on the other. To him, it's a 6. To him, it's a 9. Well, I mean, we're both right. It's just a matter of what are we going to do with it, because at the end of the day, it has to be a number. It has to take you somewhere. Well, does it have to be a number? Can we actually talk to each other about it? The point is that one of the main reasons that drew me to Star Wars was the villainy of it. It was Anakin becoming Darth Vader. It was what does Darth Vader represent? It was what does Darth Sidious represent? It was why is he bad in the first place? Why is it that the Sith teach passion? Why is it that I find myself so passionate in life, but so why am I controlling it? Why can't I get what I want by being more passionate? Why can't I do this? Why are the Jedi they seem so docile, even though they're actually so powerful? They just don't use it because they control, they do this. And it's just fantastic in the way you sort of see this dynamic. So I decided, to really dive in one of the ways, because there was something in Star Wars for everybody, whether it's Mando and Grogu, whether it's the main films and you don't want to do the comics, whether it's Clone Wars. And my blog post about the Clone Wars was honestly that if you actually watch the Clone Wars and you treat it as its own story, you find an entire rebellion in a whole huge galaxy fighting to survive, with a pilot out of nowhere diving in just to, you're basically taking the bullet or the laser to die to protect someone a politician who is going to potentially lead this galaxy and the rebellion. That's huge. If you watch Air Force One and you see that film Air Force One with Harrison Ford, and you see the fighter jet, he's taking a missile to protect Air Force One, and you're like, oh crap, look at that, salute to you, man. Of course, it's fantastic. So it's there, it's in the story for you to see. Star Wars is something for everybody, and Star Wars definitely has enough villains. I'm like neck deep in villains of Star Wars here. One beautiful way for me to get to know Star Wars' villains even more, well, Star Wars story even more, is to get to know its villains. And one amazing way to get to know its villains is for us to do this villain bracket, because this means that a lot of the villains on here, like half of them, I never even heard of. So I had to dive in deep. I had to read some more content. I had to watch some more Clone Wars. I had to do this. I had to do that. It was so cool. And I've been loving every bit of this tiny, tiny little part of our podcast. It's just me sort of having to do this little bit of research about these characters. And we have decided that we try to do this. And Richard J is really the person. So I sort of wanted to do this concept, but Richard J is the one who architected it for me. He's like, Usef, this isn't going to work this way. You gotta try to see, if you really want to see who's cooler, then you put them up against each other in their brackets. Immediately what I did was try to separate them, and then everybody just started adding it. I want to see everybody's opinion on who they think is cooler. And eventually, we haven't figured out the exact next steps yet, but I have 2 ideas, and I'll run them by the guys later this week, since we're coming up on finishing almost all the categories.
Yeah.
When we put these villains up against each other, who do you think is cooler? Not necessarily who would win in a fight. It's about who maybe cooler to you is who you'd want to just see. Maybe it's who you'd want to be. Maybe it's who you think represents you. Maybe it's who you like their stories more. Even doesn't matter if they look cool on camera. That guy died in one episode. That's fine. Sure. Okay. We all know what we're talking about. But I mean, the point is that it's all about, and once we get into the really heavy sort of characters, the heavy hitters, you're going to find yourself really conflicted, because you're going to think, oh, wow, damn, who do I think is actually cooler? Why is it cool? What does cool mean to me? So whatever that interpretation is to you, jump on and vote.
Yeah. So
more than a few words. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That's it's hard to sum it up in a really tight nutshell. But yeah, that is what we're doing. Who is cooler? Not who necessarily who'd win in a fight. Our last episode we put out, it was Ventress. It was Asajj Ventress versus Savage Opress. And I went back and looked. You guys voted on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, on our Spotify. You guys voted, and the winner was Ventress. And it was about 33 to 66%, something like that. So
that makes sense.
It is about right. Yeah. So
Okay.
Ventress was the winner for that one. She'll move on to whatever we got planned for the next batch. But because those were the 2 that but went head to head.
Came up against each other.
Yeah, basically. We only had 2 names left. So usually we spin a wheel, we get some confetti, we get some applause. We're not going to do it tonight because we already know who it's going to be. So this week we are going to be talking about Kylo Ren and Supreme Leader Snoke. These 2 are both very complex characters when you really strip them down. And so, yeah, Master versus the way it should be. This is the way it should be. But yeah, we're gonna put this out. Kylo Ren and Supreme Leader Snoke. So go to our Facebook page. The links for all these are in the description of the podcast on whatever platform you're on. Check out the polls. You can vote more than once on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. I'm gonna try to figure out.
If you're really passionate about your vote,
go vote more than once. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get it onto the website. I'm not sure exactly how to integrate a poll in just yet. I'm still learning. I'm figuring it out as we go. It's a labor of love. But go vote more than once. Who do you guys think is cooler, Kylo Ren or Supreme Leader Snoke? I think everybody basically knows these characters at this point. Is there anything you guys want to add or kind of spotlight about these characters? Who are you guys going to vote for? Like,
I was going to ask JG if he wanted to give a little bit of. Normally, what I do at this point, or Brian, we give just a little bit of our opinion, not necessarily if we want to share our vote now. We don't necessarily.
I'll share my vote right now. I don't care.
But I mean, the point is just like our opinions. If you have any opinions that you want to.
Yeah. It's interesting because they're both interesting characters that had a lot of potential that I think that maybe we haven't quite seen the full.
Exactly.
Both have been expanded tremendously in comics though. And so I do think alone for the mini series that he got, I think I do have to give this to Kylo Ren. Literally just for that one, like I think it's the Rise of Kylo Ren, if I remember correctly. Gosh,
he's got a couple. Yeah, there's actually a couple in there.
And there's the most recent one too.
Yeah, I don't
remember.
Like
a pseudo Vader comic, but
yeah,
the one that
Legacy
came out
of Vader.
a couple
Legacy
years
of Vader.
ago.
Legacy of Vader was the newest one. Yeah.
Yes. But I don't know. I think Kylo is very interesting, especially if you look at it. Like I don't know. He is the defining like villain iconography when it comes to the sequels for good reason. Like it's some of the first things that we see when it comes to trailers and such. And it is such an interesting character. My gosh, we were even potentially, I know it's technically Ben Solo, but we were technically gonna maybe get more in some capacity too. So it's hard to say, especially with what we know of Snoke, that like, which isn't much, but like that maybe he was more of a like literal meat puppet of Sidious. He is cool, memorable and such, but I don't think he holds up anywhere near Kylo.
I'm with you.
It's interesting. It's very interesting that you say that. So let me try to give you the other side of the coin and tell me what you think here, because I do want to give both of them their props, because so Kylo Ren to me, he stands out. He's automatically cool. He's young. He's ambitious. He automatically he was trained by Luke Skywalker. He then turns and wants to become the legacy of Vader and surpass him potentially, to the point where he has Vader's helmet, his burnt to ash helmet in his bedroom or in his room or in his shrine to him. His lightsaber is amazing. The crossguard is the first time we see that. His helmet's cool, the altered voice. He stops laser bolts with the Force. We've never seen that before. And he's a fantastic fighter. The whole Knights of Ren is just fantastic. When we saw those in the comics, it was brilliant. Snoke, everything about him screams the coolest tyrant I've ever seen. From what we've seen of him in the first episode, from the voice in the very first trailer, there's been a disturbance in the Force. Have you felt it? And like, he's just fantastic. And even the fact that Andy goddamn Serkis is the person who voiced him, who was the motion capture for him. He is potentially one of my favorite ever, not actors, artists, period. Like, he's just amazing. Snoke is cool in his presence. He's just the strongest with the Force that I've seen in Star Wars, just making Rey fly away with a swish of his finger. The wisdom that he shows, the brilliance that he shows as a tyrant. We didn't see him turn into something more because obviously his potential was really cut short. I would really like to see more of him. And I don't know, like, just in terms of like cooler, I feel like I've already seen so many of the Kylo Ren type that I'm drawn to the Snoke type. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'd like some more material from you guys about, if you know Snoke in any other comic books or novels. I really want more of that. There's a couple of novels I'm ashamed to say I have not read yet. You know, the Mace Windu novel came out, I didn't read it. I know you have negative views on it, but I want to read it. There's a few, the Darth Vader novel, you know, that came out couple of months back now. Shit, almost 6 or maybe even a year. But yeah, I'm really behind on those. But there's a few novels about villains that I really want to get to. If Snoke has some more material, which he deserves, we really want to see more of that. But maybe just because he ended up being just a meat puppet. But I don't want that to take away from what his presence was, because the presence of Snoke far outweighed, in my opinion, the presence of Kylo Ren.
He just shows up in the comic. I think I'm pretty sure it's the Rise of Kylo Ren or something like that in that thing. And he shows up with a pretty cool hat, and
kind of like this one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There shockingly isn't a lot of Snoke content. I will say they kind of have teased like elements of it through like the whole cloning of it with like the Mandalorian and Bad Batch and such, but we haven't quite gotten into like Snoke. Not even in the Lando and Luke book. The
we didn't touch on it there at all.
Whatever,
either.
Like he doesn't even come up there. I mean, that's more of
that would have been the place
than anything.
Yeah, that would have been the place. I got to go with Kylo Ren on this one. Snoke. So I agree with both of you guys on everything you said about both characters. With JG on Kylo Ren, with Usef on Snoke, I completely agree with both of you guys. And I agree with Usef up until the beginning of episode 9. He was just another clone and a vat that for some reason every single clone had the exact same disfiguration.
It was nerfed.
But I agree with you about the gravitas he had.
Yes.
And the presence that he had. I mean, I completely agree with you on all that. And then it was all just shotgun to hell with the opening of episode 9.
In the terms of the youth of today, Snoke was definitely an aura farmer. Like he definitely had all that.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Till you found out he had 4 brothers that looked just like him.
I just wish there was more depth, but that wasn't the point. I think eventually with what we also got, like it became the whole point was Palpatine, love it, hate it, whatever. Like that's just what ended up being the story, and so that's why I don't think we ever will get more of Snoke. We're getting it through the fact that
I hope we do.
That we're getting it through the fact that Palpatine's trying to do cloning and all that such, and that leads to eventually Snoke.
I want to see his
origins. Whole thing.
Want to see his creation and how he came up and how he teased Kylo Ren and how he seduced
whole thing
him.
needs a novel.
I think that's all Palpatine. I don't think that's Snoke.
I think there needs to be an entire
well then show me
there.
Show me Snoke doing it, as in Palpatine doing it through Snoke.
Yes.
And then show me where Snoke comes in, because he's still a living being. He's still an independent being. He's a puppet, but
that could be closer. Like they still have once we get out of this Mandoverse and such, and we get closer to the sequels, and because there is a sizable gap between the two.
Like 20 years.
That could still be explored down the road, especially as Clone Wars has filled in the gaps and such, and as Mandoverse is kind of filling in the gaps. There's definitely still room for them to fill in some sequel gaps, and it could show up there. I do think it will be more of an emphasis on Palpatine, the cloning, and all of that, and less
Project
on
Necromancer.
Snoke himself.
Yeah. I think there's a novel in there somewhere. I mean, once we get through, and I hate using the term Mandoverse. I hate that so much. But that time period, that I get why people call it that. Through this time period, this New Republic resurgence or whatever, the Imperial Remnant, I guess, era. Once we get through that, I think there definitely is a novel to be told there, because that story hasn't been told. It's been teased. It's been, because we don't know what this, is Dave Filoni still doing this, Heir to the Empire movie? Is that still going to happen now? Or is somebody else going to head it up? What's going to happen? But they've already started in that direction. So that movie, to me, in my opinion, has to still happen at some point. That big culmination of all this whole time frame, this first 10 years after Return of the Jedi. I think once that's all culminated, we don't know what we're going to learn. We don't know what we're going to learn about Project Necromancer because they're teasing it left and right. We don't know what we're going to learn about Thrawn. We don't even know his fate. We know the Imperial Remnant is going to end up fizzling out, and then the First Order is going to rise. We know that. And so, I think once we hit that void there where we're like, okay, that story's over, let's start telling this one now. I think they need to focus more on that dark side aspect, that dark side of it, and tell that story, because it's been teased in the novels, like when Palpatine gets thrown down the shaft. It explains how, the Rise of Skywalker novel explained how he projected his essence across the galaxy, but it didn't say how he learned how to do it, where he was going, what the plan was, nothing, because that was before any of this Project Necromancer stuff was even touched. And so they're obviously building to something. They're going to reveal it at some point. We're going to get there, but that story deserves to be told because there's so much ambiguity around, and I'm sorry, not ambiguity, animosity around that line in The Rise of Skywalker. Somehow Palpatine returned. You could do an entire series based off those 3 words, you know? And so I think that would be, and if you want to see my actual like thoughts on how that could have been explained, go check out my blog, 5 edits to the sequels to make it a trilogy. But yeah, I think there's a story to be told there. And I think that could help build out Snoke to be a really cool character, even more so than he already is. And even maybe add some layers to Palpatine too, because, you know, he's thinking, never thought I was actually going to have to do this, you know? And
Right.
so now he's dealing with bodies decaying, because that was kind of touched on too. The bodies couldn't hold his essence. They were falling apart. They were decaying. He had to keep transferring essence from body to body to body. And so there's a story there, and I want to know it. I want to know that story. Absolutely. So, but anyway, yeah, that's our villain bracket. So go vote. Those 3 places. Links are down below on whatever platform you're listening or watching this podcast on. And let us know your thoughts. Comment. Let us know which one. Go have it out. Keep it civil. That's the only thing I ask. Keep it civil. I know we're Star Wars fans, and Star Wars fans hate Star Wars. I understand that, but keep it civil. I'm not playing. I'll start deleting comments. I've had to in the past. So that's our villain bracket. Go vote. Let's wrap the show up with some mailbag questions. At the end of every episode, if you guys are new to the show, we like to take some listener questions that are sent in. We used to have them emailed to us. We have a new place you can go to send in your mailbag question. Now it's on this little ticking scroll bar down here. Go to starwarscanon.net/mailbag and you can submit your question there. And if you don't want to submit a question, just let us know how you're doing, what you think of the show. Send us a message that way there also. I mean, I'll go through them and pick some out. And this week we've got 3 awesome questions that you guys sent in. When we announced that the show was going to be coming back, you guys sent in some really great questions, and we're gonna go through 3 of them. We're gonna try to do them pretty quick because we're coming up on 2 hours already. And I got 48 hours to edit the show at this point. So let's get going. The first question this week comes from Tyson Chambers, and Tyson writes in and says, "Hello, Canon Podcast. Love your show, and I'm so glad to see you coming back with so much Star Wars content coming out soon. We need the positivity and candor you guys bring to the fandom. Thanks for the kind words, man. We do appreciate it. That's what we try to do. That's our goal here, is to keep it light and keep it positive. Since you are discussing the High Republic Phase 2 books, do you think the Path of the Open Hand had a legitimate view of the Force? Love your show and welcome back." Thanks for the question, Tyson. Yeah, Usef, you've read enough High Republic. This isn't going to be a spoiler at all.
I definitely have not read enough High Republic.
You've
I'll
read enough
take a
to
stab at
know. I know, but you know enough to know the Path of the Open Hand's philosophy.
Yes. Yes.
Their philosophy, for those of you that haven't read it, is that the Force, I guess you could say, is finite, and that by using it, or abusing it is what they call it, by using the Force,
yes,
you are abusing it and you're taking from it where it could be helping somebody else in the galaxy. So the Path of the Open Hand has a lot of animosity towards the Jedi in particular, because they use the Force. They think it's an abuse of it, and they think that them using the Force to hover a flower above their hand could cause somebody across the galaxy to die. It could cause a loss of life somewhere. Is there some legitimacy to this? Do you guys think there is? Do you think that maybe they're onto something, or do you think they're completely like bat crazy? I personally, I'll go first. I see the Force as infinite. I don't see this as being right at all. Granted, they do have some evidence that they bring to the table to kind of back up their claims a little bit.
That's what I was going to bring up.
But I'm like, and there's been a couple times, like especially in Path of Deceit, where Marta's talking to Kevmo, and I'm like, ooh, is she onto something? So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is a legitimate thing?
That's exactly what I was gonna mention, and I'm gonna wait until you and JG give me some more details on this, because honestly, it's not just Jedi, it's also the Sith, it's any Force user, period. Mm-hmm. But what I was thinking was, there's so many ways you can use the Force. So I know that, for example, remember when Rey on screen, the reason why I bring up this particular example was because it was on the big screen, when Rey Force healed that creature when they were down in the tunnels. So she took a little bit from her life force, and she took a little bit to regain her energy, sort of thing, to get back to it. So that makes sense. There's a transference of energy, okay? Whereas if you're moving something telekinetically, if you're Jedi mind tricking someone, or if you're torturing someone, or if you're stopping a laser force. I don't know. I always felt like that was you having a sort of telekinetic superpower. If you're taking from, where that energy could have been elsewhere in the galaxy, the only way, in my opinion, that could be explained isn't necessarily that the force is finite, but it's the butterfly effect of you doing something, and therefore that ripples. So is it a physical ripple? It has to be. It can't be. I mean, you can't conjure something here, and it just dies in like a different area else in the galaxy. Do you know what I mean? So that's why it's a fascinating perspective, and how Marta explains it is amazing. And that little bit of evidence that she shows is so cool. But then again, I haven't seen the whole. It might have been explained again and again and again later on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's kind of why I'm waiting for you guys to tell me what you think. But I mean, they're claiming to fight an imbalance, right? That's how they're thinking about this. And the idea that the force should be used at all, don't abuse it, because if you start by moving this, then what else are you going to do? They're completely right, because once you have a little bit of power, then you're going to abuse it in all sorts of ways, and that's where we get Sith versus Jedi, and that force is what makes the Star Wars universe that unique, this fantastically unique. Not just that it's in space and it's long time ago, not in the future, that sort of thing. No, I mean, the use of the force is a disruption of life, and it creates an imbalance. That's their sort of thing. In that, I agree with them completely. Period. Because it's a superpower, it's unnatural sort of thing, it's something, But in how it actually makes a difference to everything around it, that's weird.
I will tread very lightly, but I will say what a great cult leader does is that they present you with something that seems very true. They might even show you something that's very true. But then they will twist it so that ultimately they can control. And I think even in just the stories that we discussed today, I think we see that from her and see that is possibly what she's trying to do as, the leader of this. Well, she wouldn't call it a cult, but
it's
others
a cult.
have.
It's a cult.
Almost definitely is a cult.
It's a cult.
Yes. Oh, it's very much a cult, but from her perspective, it's not.
Is the Jedi Order a cult?
From many people, yes.
Yes, there you go. That was the answer I was expecting.
And
from a certain point of view,
And I mean, I think you will have a very interesting perspective once you reach the conclusion of the High Republic and compare the High Republic of where we see them in the Phantom Menace and where we see them in the High Republic, because
amazing
night and day. But yeah, I think there might be some ounces of truth there, but I don't think that's ultimately her agenda. I think she is trying to manipulate and control people and telling them what they can and can't do. And as a result, specifically the Force here.
Right. Once you get a little more backstory on the mother, you kind of understand it a little bit more.
Okay.
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that. I should not have said that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said. I
think it may have been slightly not because of you. I think online with me searching stuff, it may have been spoiled for me, like who Marta becomes. Stuff like that.
I'm not going to be the one to do it. I don't want to be like, did you see blah 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 blah? And you're like, no, I'm not going to be.
I ain't saying anything.
I'm no, nothing. So, I don't. I think they're crazy. I don't think that's how the Force. That's not how the Force works, as Han Solo said. That's not how it works.
You definitely. I will say the topic, this specific topic and theme is explored heavily through like the driving. That is.
It
like
is
the driving,
okay. Good.
Driving thesis, and eventually, getting into the other YA book. It is.
If you want to give an example of something in the future without spoiling, perfectly okay.
Nope. You're gonna read the book and you will find out.
Yeah, you will.
I appreciate that.
And you better.
Look,
Usef, I'm going to tell you this. There's parts in the High Republic that, as you read, because I know we're not going to be able to read page for page together, but as you read them, when things happen, you're gonna message me. I just know you are, and you're gonna be like,
nice.
"Oh my god, yeah, I know exactly where you are."
Messages between Steven and I as we were reading them as they were like releasing and stuff. Yeah.
There's gonna be some moments where you're like, I have to talk to somebody about this right now. There is. Awesome. So I hope that answers your question, Tyson. Let us know what you guys think. Do you guys think the Path of the Open Hand may have had some legitimacy to their claims, to their beliefs. Do you think they're just crazy? Do you think maybe the Jedi, I mean, I know the Jedi had it coming, but that's a different topic. Do you think maybe the Jedi actually were abusing the Force? I don't know. Let us know. Sound off below, and maybe we'll read some of your guys' comments on the next episode. Thanks for the question, Tyson. Appreciate it. The second question this week, and this is a fun little what if one. I like doing little what if questions once in a while. Solomon Parker writes in, and he writes in and says, I've always wondered what would happen if Mace Windu had actually killed Palpatine. What are your thoughts on this? Keep up the great content. Thanks for the question, Solomon. I want one of you guys to go first because I'm kind of scared of what.
I went first last time.
I don't know. Yeah, JG, go.
If I had to just try to make logical and less fan fiction, I would probably presume that I think the only way that Mace succeeds is basically if Anakin is not there. I think that's the only way. Like Anakin actually listens and stays where he is, and he actually then executes him. And then I think at that point, then it would be interesting to see because I would presume that we would then actually, I would make a bold prediction because I think they would then have a new election for a new Supreme Chancellor, and I think at that point, even though she's pregnant, she's not gonna die of heartbreak.
Okay.
I think she's the most popular politician right now. I think she bridges the gaps between the Separatists and the Republic, and I think she is almost unanimously elected as Chancellor.
I never thought of that. That is an awesome prediction. That's an awesome speculation. I've never once thought of Padme becoming Chancellor.
I just came up with that right now.
But you want to know something? that to me is the most logical thing that could happen. Honestly, that would be.
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset that okay, was Anakin the actual chosen one? Was he? Because this all depends. My whole outlook depends on whether he was or not. If he was, then there's no other way for that fight to have worked its way out. Palpatine could not have been the one to destroy the Sith. Mm-hmm. There's no way that could have happened. Unless, like what Yoda said, a prophecy misread could have been. But if the prophecy is that Anakin, the chosen one, was going to destroy the Sith, then there's no way that Mace wins that fight. There's no way. It doesn't matter. He could have been getting ready to, if Anakin hadn't been there, he could have been getting ready to strike him down and slipped on a piece of broken glass and fell out that window on his own, And so I don't know. Usef, what do you think?
So there's two things that came to mind when I saw this question a while back. Firstly, it creates a different kind of problem in terms of who the Jedi are. Mm-hmm. Because then they're already treading a fine line between, So now they're going to be seen not just they're not peacekeepers anymore. What are they, executioners? You know what I mean? So this is maybe they should be more on the front foot or something. That's one side. The other side is, I love what JG just said about Padme. I actually think Anakin would have eventually still turned evil. I think he still would have turned evil because there still needs to be balance. I'm going to be bold. There still needs to be balance. There still needs to be evil. He's still hungry. He's still ambitious. He's still never content with how the Jedi do things. Even before he got brushed aside for being promoted or not promoted to master and that kind of stuff. He's still not okay with everything going on. He still would have turned. He still would have, jumped into some sort of, not necessarily Sith. Maybe the philosophy of the Sith turns into something else with Anakin being there. Maybe some other being rises. Maybe whatever spirit that Snoke had was there somewhere. Maybe remnants of Darth Plagueis' teachings show up somewhere. Maybe the temple where Darth Sidious was meditating, his Sith temple underneath his office and underneath the Senate, underneath the Jedi temple, and all of that. Maybe Anakin would have stumbled across that, upon that. Even if he kills, we know that if he kills Palpatine, if Mace Windu kills Palpatine, then Palpatine anyway is going to shift to his other bodies because we know he's already started working. Well, I think he's already started. He only started working.
I don't know if
on
he
that
had
when
at that point
became
yet.
the-
Oh, he
exactly.
Might have been.
Maybe, we don't know that yet. Exactly. We don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't.
No, because Mount Tannis was already going in Bad Batch. Mount Tannis,
What was
they
that,
were already working on Project Necromancer and Bad Batch.
Okay.
So
okay.
maybe.
Ish.
So
Yeah.
there will be something there. It won't have been as mature as later on, but it will still have been something there.
Mm.
Anakin probably would have found that out because he was tight with the stormtroopers anyway. So he was clone troopers at that point. Yeah, I think Anakin was always destined, because the reasons why that he had gripe with the Jedi weren't because they brushed him aside, because Sidious has been seducing me this whole time, this was that. He was already having gripe with them. He was already having issues with the way things were run. He was already telling Padme, we should do this the way we want. And Padme becomes Chancellor, exactly as you say, and he starts manipulating and doing shit his own way. And she can't really stop him. And then there's this whole thing about her stopping him, and I have a whole movie in my head now.
Oh yeah, I know. As soon as he said Padme as Chancellor, I was like, oh my, how did I never?
And then Padme is going to start ordering him to stop him, and he's going to look at her and be like, I'm sorry, you're doing what now?
That's a whole nother thing, because think about what was one of the final conversations Anakin and Padme had before Anakin went dark. She was like, have you ever considered maybe we're fighting on the wrong side? And so he was like, you're starting to sound like a separatist. Would she have been the one to like bridge the gap between these two sides, even though the damage had been done by Sidious?
Yeah.
Would she have been the one to come out with all this evidence and say, hey, we gotta mend this somehow, And so
she had friends on that. She had friends on that side. She was part of the 200 delegate or whatever that was called in the deleted scene and all that.
2000 delegation of 2000.
Yes.
Yep.
And like, I think she would have definitely. I think the other path too that this could have gone, which we see it in Clone Wars. I think if Maul shuts up and doesn't speak another sentence, I think Ahsoka teams up, and it's Ahsoka and Maul go to the Jedi Council, and that is also going to temper Anakin because of Ahsoka and everything. And I think it's kind of the
but then he'd look at the Jedi,
the ventress of it all, where they're like, well, we don't really trust you, we don't like you, but like, we're going to hire you, and you're going to do the whole dark disciple of it all. That's what they would have done with Maul, and they would have gone after Sidious at that time.
But then think about from Anakin's point of view, if Ahsoka brings Maul to the Jedi Council, and then the Jedi Council's like, okay, we're going to listen to you. That would have driven another wedge between the Jedi and Anakin, because he'd have been like, you're going to listen to him, a former Sith? He killed Qui-Gon. I mean, you're going to listen to him. You're going to let him.
Obi-Wan would have been more pissed than Anakin.
And Obi-Wan would have felt the type of way about that too, with Qui-Gon and Satine and everybody that Maul. And so I think, oh man, that gets messy fast. It gets messy fast when you just let Mace just have that last swing and oh man. But it's fun to think about. I like thinking about little what if things.
I'm not sure is her Eve or Evie. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but that you need to write a whole Legends book just on that. Like seriously, like that is amazing.
I like that question a lot. What do you think would happen, Solomon? Let us know.
Oh, Solomon. Excuse me.
Solomon,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I read the next name.
Oh no, you're fine.
Solomon.
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
That was a great question. And yeah, if you guys got some more cool what ifs, send them in, because I love talking about what ifs. But like, as soon as JG said Padme becoming like Chancellor, I was like, this is gonna get messy real fast, and that just went everywhere. But it's fun to speculate on stuff like that. So thanks for the question, Solomon. Thanks for making us use our brain muscles for just a minute there. That's always nice. The last question this week comes from Eve Sherman. This will be our final one for the night. And Eve writes in and says, hey, Brian and Usef and JG. She didn't say JG, but she didn't know you were going to be on the show. So, hey, Brian and Usef and JG. I'm a huge fan of your show and absolutely love your outlook on the Star Wars universe. Would love to have you on a TikTok live sometime. Hey, reach out. We have a TikTok account now, too. I keep forgetting to bring that up. Go find us at Star Wars Canon Podcast. Who would have guessed that that's what our TikTok is called? Anyway, Eve says, what are some fan theories that you absolutely believe are true and are willing to die on the hill for? Keep bringing positivity to the universe and never change. Thanks for the kind words, Eve, and thanks for the great question. I'm going to start this. I think we've talked about this on an episode before, but this is like my biggest one. It was never confirmed, at least in the films, and I don't think it was confirmed in the novelizations, but this is what I'm sticking to. Yoda knew full good and well about Anakin and Padme the entire time it was going on. It's never confirmed anywhere, but he knew. And we know from the novelization for Revenge of the Sith that Obi-Wan knew, right? We know that he said, I know about you guys. I never said anything because I wanted Anakin to be happy, and I've decided to keep it to myself. Like, he had that whole conversation with Padme. It's one of my favorite scenes in that book.
Clone
it's not
Wars.
even in the movie. Yeah, all of Clone Wars, when he's like, did you at least tell Padme? Did you tell Padme I said hello or something along those lines? Everybody knows Obi-Wan knew. Yoda knew from episode 2 on. The moment that they gave Anakin that mission to go to Naboo with her, he knew what was going to happen. You've been alive for 900 years, 850 years at that point, 850 years, and you don't know that you're going to send a 20-year-old celibate boy on a mission with the hottest senator in the galaxy to a secluded island on a lake in Naboo to protect her, knowing full good and well that she's got this wardrobe of wildly seductive outfits, and you're just going to expect nothing to happen? Are you how Yoda's not that naive? And then at the end of episode 2, when Anakin gets his arm lopped off and then Padme comes running in after Dooku gets away, she runs straight up to Anakin, gives him a hug, kisses him right in front of Yoda and Obi-Wan. Nobody says anything about this. They're just not oddly familiar with each other. They hadn't seen each other in 10 years, and then 3 days later they're that close. Nothing happened.
We have learned that in stories, Yoda is a liar, and Yoda makes some questionable choices.
Yes, he does.
And I will leave it there. And so,
yes, he does. I completely agree.
I agree with you there.
He knew the entire freaking time. And I'll go a step further. I'll go one step further real quick. He knew that Padme was pregnant, and during the events of episode 3. I'll go that far too.
I was gonna talk about this with a sort of there's the conventional ones that we all kind of brush over. Jar Jar Binks was definitely a Sith Lord. Right? He was definitely supposed to be. Oh yeah.
This little cutie, this little guy.
I hate you guys. I'm sandwiched between you guys.
Misa's strong with the dark side.
Misa gonna hurt you.
There's one that's automatically discussed. These are not the ones that are going to be my favorite. Just going to mention them. For example, the fact that Palpatine or Darth Sidious created Anakin. That's automatically discussed. It's automatically thought of as a fan. It's never confirmed. It's never not confirmed. It's just that. There's another one which is kind of out there. I don't know if it's discussed very much. I'm not sure if it's debated.
Uh-oh, did we lose Usef's sound?
Oh,
I think his mic died.
Almost.
Yep, almost.
Stay on target.
Yeah.
Stay on target.
Yeah. Oh. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you, Usef. Yeah. Oh, try again. Can we hear you?
Maybe.
Oh no! Did we lose? Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about at the top of the show.
It must mean invasion.
Yeah. A communications disruption can only mean one thing: invasion. Yeah, we can't hear you, Usef. If you can hear us, man.
All right, how about this?
Oh, that's a little. Yeah. Is it just your secondary one?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all right. We'll get through. We're almost to the end of the episode. It'll be all right.
So yeah, the thing is that. So I was just gonna say the fact that the Force controls everything itself. That the Force is what's driving, the light side versus the dark side. The Force is what's enticing Anakin to move towards the dark side. The Force is what essentially plays on Obi-Wan's heartstrings and makes him not sort of double tap and make sure that he finishes off Anakin. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. All these three things, especially Jar Jar becoming a Sith, all those are heavily, they're just automatically in the back of the head, right? But the main three that I really like. The first one is probably my favorite one. The fact that R2-D2 knows everything and he's the one telling the story of Star Wars. You know what I mean? And he is, the data bank. And I love that. I just love it. My actual favorite, though,
is probably that Qui-Gon would have prevented Anakin's fall. So Qui-Gon Jinn is my favorite Jedi. I love him. What if he doesn't die during the Duel of the Fates? And that's kind of the thing, right? Like, what would Qui-Gon have become? Would he still? He probably would have left the Jedi Order anyway, because that's kind of where he was going before he died, before he went to Naboo. And he probably would have prevented. He would have become Anakin's father figure, sort of. Yeah, and he believed in balance and emotion and compassion, and he wasn't such a strict Jedi. He wanted the Jedi to be more of a front foot sort of thing, and so did Dooku as well. Well, before Count Dooku became Darth Tyranus. Anyway, yeah, it would have been really cool. There's another one, obviously, which we've all mentioned as if it was canon. I'm not sure if it is canon. Like the fact that Luke Skywalker was holding back against Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi held back against Darth Vader as well. I mean, that's not confirmed, is it? In the novels and novelizations of
no.
Yeah, it's not, right?
No.
Nope.
But anyway, yeah. My favorite is that if Qui-Gon hadn't died, he would have stopped Anakin becoming Darth Vader.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I have two. One that I will kind of tease because I can't really say it because y'all haven't finished the High Republic.
Uh-oh.
But I will.
Oh, it's the High Republic one. That's
I will
amazing.
tease that I do think that there is massive connection that would have been explored in a TV show, but I think there is. While as we know that the whole major conflict of the High Republic does not involve the Sith, I do think that there is a massive puzzle piece to the Sith that is connecting to like Plagueis and eventually Palpatine and it all, which a lot of fans who have completed it agree. A story to be told, but definitely a puzzle piece there. Nice little tease for you guys to finish the High Republic.
Yeah.
Anyways, my real one, my fun one, the one that I will always subscribe to. It's so silly and goofy, but it's canon in my head. That is that Corky Kryze is the son of Obi-Wan.
Yes. That was another one. Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if it works and doesn't work. That is canon. That boy is Obi-Wan's child.
The age matches up too.
Yeah.
Like perfectly. And he looks just like him. Identical to him.
And Obi-Wan's like, I would have left the order for you. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, baby mama.
Anakin, she's not my girlfriend.
Like,
Yeah.
That kid is your son.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, yeah, which honestly leads into why Obi-Wan was probably okay with Anakin and Padme and was like willing to let them. Yeah, exactly. And so that was another one that I was gonna. Yeah,
it's a lot. It's very interesting because it's a lot. It again, it was very relevant. Connects back to like High Republic and how the Jedi, their views are very different from the Jedi of the prequel trilogy.
Yep, I completely agree. That's a great one. And I like how you're like, it's silly. No, that's actually a really great fan theory. And I completely, I'll die on that hill too with you. I'll back to back. We'll die on that hill. I completely agree with you on that one. Yeah. So thanks for sending in the question, Eve. What are some of your guys' favorite fan theories, and which ones do you guys think are absolutely true? What's your headcanon? And don't, man, like I get where you guys are coming from. But don't say that Mary Jane is still in the canon somewhere. That's obviously not true. Like actual fan theories that are out there. What are some of your guys' favorite ones? Which one do you guys think are real? So thanks for sending in the question, Eve. We do appreciate it. Guys, we're coming up on 2.5 hours. I think this has been a great coming back episode for the Star Wars Canon Podcast. I'm so excited to be back on the mic with you guys and to be talking about our favorite thing in the world again.
Thank you, JG, for making the effort to join us.
Absolutely. No, thank both. I want to thank both of you guys for joining. I know it's an hour later where JG is at from where I am. It's 9 p.m. for me right now. And I know it's like 6 a.m. for Usef right now. Is it 5? So, yeah, Usef, I want to thank you for joining us from across the pond tonight, staying up late to talk Star Wars with us and to join the show. It's never the same without you guys. It's always fun to have you guys on and to bounce ideas off and to have debate, especially since Convergence is the best High Republic novel ever. I don't care what anybody else says. So thank you guys for. Oh man, I'm gonna fight you. I can't wait until Celebration 2027 because I'm going to fight you.
Oh.
Physically fight you. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in this week. Thank you for being a part of the show. If you guys like what you heard tonight, make sure to follow us and subscribe on whatever platform you guys are listening in on. If it's Anchor, if it's Spotify, if it's Apple Podcasts, if it's YouTube, if it's on our website. This podcast streams to our website now. So go check us out on StarWarsCanon.net to let us know what you guys think of the show. Sign up for the newsletter when that comes out. And I don't think I got anything else for the show. Do you? If you guys want to send in a question for next week's episode.
I would ask, yes, please send in questions, send in comments. And I would say, please send in questions, send in comments. And please tell us where you're messaging us from as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see us all over the place. Please tell us where you're sending it from as well.
Yeah. If you guys want to send in a question, right there on that little ticking scroll bar right there, StarWarsCanon.net/mailbag. Go there and let us know what you guys think. So until next week, this is Brian, JG, and Usef signing off. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until next week, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.